Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the KCM week number 5, season 2. We're getting it started, guys, on match point. Best versus Sharp, game number 1.
자, KCM 종족 최강전 2026 매주 여러분이
Alright guys, gonna pull up the lineup. Light Rush Sharp, Bisu, Best, Mini, Soma, Hero, Larva. It's looking like a finely balanced group for KCM. I'm liking this lineup here today, Sean.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, and the audience actually think that Protoss are probably going to be taking this week. They've got 59%, which is kind of insane. But there is still Soma on the Zerg squad. Sometimes he can hard carry his team. Going to be starting off with Best versus Sharp to kick things off. Kind of crazy because, I mean, I'm not sure how Best is playing at the moment. We've seen slightly disappointing results from him, but, you know, that could just be a temporary glitch in the Matrix, and he could be putting out some great games here today as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, he could absolutely carry. We've seen him do it in the past. It was kind of an anomaly, honestly, him not performing over the past little bit here. Basically, all season 1, he was crushing it, and in a lot of last year, like, he was looking absolutely spectacular. So he's definitely ready for, or he's definitely well positioned. I don't know what was going on with him recently.
Yeah, no, I couldn't say. It does definitely seem like he dropped off a little bit, but I hope it's just a very temporary slump that, you know, it's not going to be trending much longer. Coming in with a very quick pylon scout into gas steel here on match point against Sharp. Sharp is kind of the guy that likes to go for 11 gas, and looks like Best is going to be following this up with a Nexus first, so this is going to really hamper any chance of Sharp being able to punish that very quick expansion from Best. And, you know, you can still pull the boys on match point, but because it's forced cross position and being a 2-player map, it's not that hard to defend as well. But we have seen situations where players like Best go for a Nexus first on match point and have been crushed as well, just barely, so that could happen again today.
Yeah, but this is such a standard opener on this map now. Protoss have been pulling this type of build off for so long that Terran's got to know that this is something like this is coming.
Yeah.
Even if Best is in a slump, and guys, I was just stumbling over myself there a minute ago because I'm trying not to spoil anything from the ASL still. Like, basically, once the finals are done, which is coming up very soon, by the way.
Right.
Coming up this weekend. So once the finals are done, I think we can talk about the groups and stuff like that. We won't talk about the finals, obviously, for a little bit, but it is kind of hard to, you know, put things in context without talking about the ASL, because it's just such a big tournament, such a big part of the ASL, or of the StarCraft scene.
Yeah, I find myself putting a bit of a filter on how I talk about things just to try and be as anti-spoiler as possible. It's very difficult to do that, but we do our best. Sharp coming in here, scouting things out. So far, this has been a pretty greedy variant of the Nexus first, just a single gateway into gas. Let's see if he throws down the call before that second gateway as well. He's trying to get away with maximum greed. This is about as greedy as it gets. He's not really cutting probes. He's going straight into his tech with this. And it doesn't look like Sharp is trying to be aggressive, so Best is kind of getting away with it. There is basically a Rax expansion from Sharp, so it's still not terrible for Terran, but there is a clear advantage for Protoss, obviously.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different ways of Terran dealing with this early opener. Like, we've seen players try to wall at the entrance into the main base to try and deny the gas steal. We've seen players open up with, you know, Nexus first. We've also seen players hide a barracks out on the map and try to do a little bit of early pressure. We've also seen players, you know, send an early SCV out around the map and eBay block the natural. There's so many different ways to do it, but Sharp's taken a real traditional approach, like trying to play a very standard build even though it's a two-player map here. And honestly, Best is getting the better end of this. He's coming out ahead, I think, and Sharp is going to have a bit of a hard time in this game, potentially.
And he's made 3 Zealots, so he could, in theory, go for a run-by here on the bunker. It looks like he is looking to do that now, but actually thinks twice. The SimCity's pretty good here from Sharp in the natural, so would be pretty congested trying to get deep into the mineral line, and losing these Zealots for free would not be ideal, so he's actually just going to pull those back. Robo on the way. An additional gateway being plopped down, so looking like a 2-gate observer build, very middle of the road. Very safe way of playing here for Best from here on out. We got 2 machine shops coming up from Sharp, so, you know, Sharp, he could go for something like a 5-tank or 7-tank push to try and punish a little bit of greed from Best if Best was to take a very quick 3rd base, but with the 2-gate observer, you have some counterplay to that aggression.
It makes me laugh, Shun. The pylon here in the natural, just because last week we had that crazy final game with the pylon going down in the natural. Remember that bust on match point right here?
Yes,
where KCM screaming pylon like a full 20 seconds. Holy, that was an epic finisher last week, but Best is gonna get away with it here, and we're not gonna see that pylon get busted open. It's just kind of a funny, it's almost exactly the same, the setup on the gateways on the right hand side there and the pylon. So Best must not have been watching that game from last week.
Yeah, I was wondering if like that could happen to him again here against Sharp, but seems like no. And actually this was a 3-gate observer from Best. He did plop down a 3rd gateway, so very safe opening. This is about as cookie cutter as you can get for Protoss. It's going to shut down something like a free factory pressure very nicely here. And there is a timing now where Sharp will start adding a lot of factories. This isn't a 3 factory pressure play, though. This is probably gearing up to do like, 5 factory timing or something like that. But look at Best. He's going 2-base Arbiter. This is a little bit different from Best. Like, he's not usually that kind of guy. He does occasionally mix it up with a Templar tech into stuff like this, but this is more the exception than the rule for a guy like Best.
And Sharp is playing extremely cookie cutter as well. That's a great scan. Ooh, great scan. Arbiter play has been revealed. Arbiter is great on this map, by the way. It's so difficult to pull your army back from any defensive position. Like, one of the big factors on this map is the high ground just outside of the 3rd base. You need to keep control of that in order to control your sector of the map. And so if you're able to, like, let's say Sharp pushes out and grabs that high ground, starts to spread out a little bit, suddenly Best recalls into the main base. You have to abandon that high ground and return all the way down the left-hand side of the map just to clear that out. That allows Best to retake that high ground and just make your life absolutely miserable. So I like the choice here from Best. Let's see how it turns out for him.
This is such an interesting opening from Sharp. So he's delayed making his eBay for the longest time possible. He's only just recently started that. And he's taking a 7-minute 30 3rd base timing, relying on a couple of Goliaths for his anti-air. And he's got hardly any units, but he certainly has enough to keep Best at bay. The Citadel started, quite early on. So, ooh, the run-by from the Vultures. Actually a pretty massive deal right now. Best is instinctively pulling his army back, so has no intentions of trying to go for a counter-attack against this. Does throw down a pylon to stop the Vultures slipping into the main base, but this kind of harassment is really good for Sharp right now, because this is like the main transitional point of weakness in the build he's elected to go for. He opened up with 4 factories into a very quick 3rd, similar to kind of Later's style, but with his own take on it. And yeah, this is very interesting, because it's not, he lost the early game economic play because it's a Rack 6 ban versus 12 Nexus, but the fact that he's taken such a fast 3rd base actually sets him up really nice in the mid game.
And he was able to take that 3rd base with just 4 factories, realizing that he could probably get away with a bit more considering Best is gearing up for this Arbiter play. Like, if you've got you know, a bunch of shuttles coming out right now and potentially Storm on the way. Very difficult to take that third base with just 4 factories, but the choice of build here from Bess has been fully identified, and Sharp is playing a nice follow-up against that. Like, he's really built this into his strategy, and he's just coming in here confirming now, making sure that he can see exactly when the Arbiters are popping out. Run by into the third. Dude, Sharp is playing a really solid game right now.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas about getting confirmation on rescanning the Arbiter tech is to just make sure it's definitely going to be Arbiters, because you'll sometimes see Protoss players kind of fake Arbiter. They'll actually sometimes make an Arbiter or two with Stasis, but they'll transition that into Carriers. So I think he's more trying to identify, okay, is this going to be a transition into Carrier or not? Not that Match Point is a particularly good map for Carriers, but you do kind of have to confirm rather than assume in TVP. Very quick on-curve 4th base here from Best. I think it was about 9 minutes 30 or something. That's a nice early timing. This is actually shaping up to be a pretty good game for Sharp, considering the openers look pretty bad for him. He's still slipping vultures in through this Sim City of Best, who hasn't properly walled this in. So he's continuously losing quite a few workers to a very minimal investment of harassment from Sharp.
Nice pull on the probes there, though, to at least clear that up relatively quickly, limiting the losses. However, Sharp is pulled ahead in supply. These Arbiters are going to have to do a lot of work in the upcoming fights, man, because Sharp is going to be ready to start pushing up onto that all-important high ground here shortly. And Best, I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take that head on. We might have to see the recall play into the main base. How well set up is he back at home? Couple of mines here and there, few turrets. Any Terran player worth his salt will tell you that just a couple of turrets alone is not going to be able to deny that. You need a lot of defenses in that main base to deter an Arbiter, and sometimes it's almost impossible to stop it from happening.
Yeah, you can make 20 turrets and still they'll find a way of slipping that Arbiter in. It just is what it is, man. I like this from Best, but he's taken the 12 o'clock as a very quick 5th. And, like, relatively speaking, he's kind of ahead of curve in his expansion timing, but I don't know. Like, I really like this from Sharp. Like, he's actually not doing bad at all. Look at the continuous harassment as well. Like, the amount of probes that have died in this game, especially considering there's not been a dropship or anything, is actually kind of insane. Like, he's a little bit missed micro here from Sharp. He could have put those vultures on hold position a bit further outside of reach of that cannon for maximum damage, but it's still been very good. He's still kind of slowed down the economy of the Protoss just barely enough, so he's going to have a very crisp 2-1 timing.
We've already got a science vessel out, EMP maybe on the way. One of the reasons I think that Arbiters started to fall out of fashion is these pro Terrans got so good at landing EMPs, and Arbiter play, I mean, it's been so standard for an insanely long time, but I think a lot of these Terrans probably getting a little bit rusty against it. There is that potential where you know, things start to loop back around as you know, the meta shifts over time. Eventually, people start to, you know, become a little bit rusty and poor at dealing with some of these older styles, and they come back into prominence.
We've kind of seen that happen to 973 a little bit, where Zerg stopped going for that Hydra bust timing and we're relying more on pre-storm timing with the cross tech, and Protoss got a little bit worse at holding the 973, and it kind of keeps doing that. You know, the meta is like a circle that, you know, keeps spinning over and over again. Okay, well, let's see if Sharp can actually get up here to the northern hemisphere of the map and start taking a 4th base. That's going to be his main goal here, is being able to secure this 3rd gas. Sure, he's got this mineral-only base, but he really needs additional gas. Looks like Bess has found a timing to try and run it down. There's mines on top of tanks as well. Do get a little bit of splash damage on there. A couple of good stasises as well on the southern tanks, so he does look like he's successful in shutting Sharp out from taking this base. And since he's already mining on 5, Now this is going to be a problem for Sharp. If he can't come up here and take additional expansions, eventually Best is going to start forcing him to run dry. He's got like 5 minutes to successfully get that base established, or he's going to be pretty much depleted on these gases back at home, and the minerals will be already mined out.
Yeah, this is the way that a lot of these TVP games go on match point. It's all about the Terran player getting onto 4 bases and then shutting down the bases that are closer to the middle of the map. You know, whether that be 12 or 6 o'clock. Here comes another attack. Zealots being pulled forward. Very nice mine connection there on the tanks on the right-hand side. A very strong connection in the center of all of these Zealots, and suddenly so many explode. Best is not able to push forward any further. He's trying to utilize a bit of the counterattack here with so many vultures. Yeah, trying to push forward with a bit of that cloaking field and kill a couple more tanks. But Sharp, honestly, he saved the vessel. He was able to, you know, keep that detection alive. So Best really can't get that many good kills there. And I think there's a good chance Sharp takes the high ground here in just another minute.
Yeah, this could get very tricky for Sharp, though, because until he's got this 4th base, he kind of has to think of 2 fronts, because he wants to expand to 6 o'clock or 12 o'clock eventually. He might actually have to end up focusing on 12 o'clock, because if he splits up his attention to 2 sides of the map, that's going to be seriously hard for him to accomplish. It probably makes sense to Sharp to take this 4th base in the top left, kill the base at 12, and then take that for himself, so he can kind of keep the fronts of the battles a little bit less spread out. But if Best does stop him from taking that top left corner, I feel like the writing could be on the wall for Sharp, even though Best hasn't had the absolute fabulous engagements. It's been good enough thus far. Sharp's approaching max out again, so he should make another attempt at sneaking up here. But there's like so many arbiters, so many stasis available. Looks like he's going to go for round 3 here. A couple of stasis already going down. He has so much available energy, saying this is crazy. Preemptive D matrix comes down to the tank on the front line. Best doesn't want to shove too deeply into this, but I don't know, man. Maybe he can get some good trades here.
So many ice cubes in the soft drink right now. Sharp, I mean, he can't. He's got brain freeze at this point, man. He can't move. He can't move. Everything's stuck. I don't know what's been going on with Sharp's money, man. Have you seen 2,400 minerals in the bank there for a little bit? Just can't quite spend everything. He's pretty close to max out now, but I mean, he's having a bit of trouble getting all the vultures out that he needs to try and break up onto this high ground. And I don't see EMP critically. Have not seen EMP, which could be, it should be really key, a key part of the defense here, and him pushing up onto that high ground. Still trying to run around with a few vultures here and there, but not really accomplishing too much. Sharp gonna make another attempt, but he doesn't have much time left.
Although there's not as much arbiters and energy left remaining for Best, so this might be one of the better timings that Sharp could hope for, but needs to be careful to spread his tanks as well, so that when the stasis that is available doesn't give too much value to him. But Best is actually playing a really tidy game. He's not committing too heavily to assaulting this mineral-only base of Sharp. He would just be trading army for free doing that. But he is coming in and keeping Sharp back, and every time Sharp tries to come up to this high ground plateau, manages to squash that effort. Gradually there is some progress here from Sharp, and like I said, there's not as much arbiter energy left remaining for Best to continuously shut these pushes down. But we're approaching the critical timing. We're at 18 minutes, like just a couple more minutes, and suddenly Sharp's going to be on only 1 base worth of mining. The gases are going to dry up, and he won't have enough infrastructure production to keep going. He has to make it work now. Best once again trying to shut down this move out timing. Couple of good stasis, including on top of that science vessel, shutting down any hope of, well, that's another brilliant stasis. Yeah, we don't see any D matrix or EMP this time around again, and there's even another armator with another massive clump of units coming from Best. This looks too much for Sharp to handle.
Another stasis in the back line. Get some of the SCVs in there as well. That's one of the questions we get a lot on the channel. How come they don't use stasis on the SCVs? No, it's not It's not really valuable, but those two tanks at the back are absolutely valid targets. And, you know, best, the plan here, I feel like, is just keep him off the high ground. And if he ever gets up here, recall into the main. That second part is never going to come to pass because Sharp just cannot break this high ground.
Sharp did just get a pretty damn good EMP on both of those arbiters that we see on screen now. But, you know, he's only got 150 supply. He's starting to dry up. The main and natural, there's no more minerals to mine. He's on one base mining, and as any StarCraft enjoyer worth their salt knows, you need basically 2 bases worth of mining for Terran to continuously churn out from all of those factories and continue progressing. So at the moment, Sharp is kind of ground to a bit of a halt. And if Best can keep up his macro and stop this base from coming online, that's a very technical win condition that he can go for. And it looks like he's giving a bit of breathing room to Sharp now because he wasn't quite maxed out himself. He's just kind of allowing the Terran to enough rope to start hanging himself with, because once he gets all of his units up here into the northern hemisphere and start securing this base in the corner, he will also be more exposed to additional attack lanes from Best.
Yeah, it's recall time. I really feel like it's about time here for Best to start throwing in some recalls. He should also potentially take bottom center as well. Like, there's no way Sharp is getting down there to do anything about that. Another nice stasis here in the back line at the same time, trying to push down that ramp. Not going so well for Best. A lot of Dragoons are littering the field. So much blue goo, but so many reinforcements coming forward. It's exactly what we expect from Best. The incredible macro that is absolutely legendary at this point. Still almost overwhelming. Actually, he's starting to really bleed a lot of units now. These spread tanks are doing some great work, but these trades, even though they're not that fantastic for Best, still it's going in his favor because Sharp is completely out of money at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit of a dip in Best power level. It's kind of like watching like that Logan movie where he's still Wolverine, but he's like not quite as strong as he used to be, has less stamina and can't quite regenerate as quickly, but it's still more than enough to handle Sharp. Sharp taps out. GG is called. Best picking up a quick win on the board for the Protoss squad. Let's see what Zerg player they're going to throw at him next.
All right, guys, we're hopping into game number 2. Larva, the boy, over here at center right. Haven't seen too much out of him lately, but absolutely one of my favorite Zergs. On one of my favorite maps here, Jane Doe. Absolute blast to cast PVZs on this map, man. Gonna be sad when this thing goes the way of the Dino.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It will happen soon, but yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have this map around. One of the best 1v1 maps we've had in such a long time. I mean, it's not technically the most balanced map, but I think it's the most interesting, right? And in this matchup in particular, adds a totally different dynamic to what you can do in the openings and, like, you know, what strategies you can go for, because even one base mutas are technically viable here. The main difference is that you've got this back pocket expansion, which is pretty safe to take, which means also you can defend on your high ground with gateways and zealots, so you can cut your forge, cut your cannons early on. And that's a lot of extra minerals you can use to optimize your tech timings, having an earlier nexus and what have you. And also the Zerg could be a little bit greedy and go for, you know, more expansions early. So yeah, I think overall this is probably one of the best map additions we've had in a long time.
It's a great example of what a new map can bring, right? It's like, what can you do with a new map? What can a map maker bring to the modern meta? It's like, you can switch things up without totally breaking the game. You know, how much can you change things without totally screwing things up? You know, that's the challenge.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
This is probably the best example of what's possible. Larva just kind of hiding here or hanging out here over top of the Marine, making it hard for Best to crack through. I'm not sure exact. Okay, Best trying to make this the medic here move because he doesn't want to attack through the medic. Yeah, the spam click. Looks like he's kind of messed it up. He can't get through the medic here, and so Larva's actually going to slip through with the Ling. Wow, this is actually the worst possible scenario. The Lings can get through, but the probe can't.
Oh my gosh, she just created like an 815 ramp, but it's even smaller where the workers can't get up and down it as well. This is crazy. This is like the most ideal scenario for Zerg. Like, oh, I can get Lings down my ramp and you can't even scout me. Oh my days. Best has kind of shot himself in the foot there. Would have been better off if he just targeted the medic with his probe to weaken that up for a possible scout. He was trying to go for a bit of a greedy play and gets a little bit punished for it. Now some pressure on the other side of the map with these 3 Lings from Lava as well. Probably won't be successful in breaking that. Oh, actually he slipped past the Zealot. Bit of a mistake here from Best. Tried to be greedy, coming out and playing footsies with the Zerglings. Picks one off, but allows 2 Lings inside the main base. Really good scouting information available to Lava now, seeing everything that Best is doing. Might even catch a probe or 2 if he gives this Zealot the runaround.
Yeah, I mean, the scout's not too impactful, right? He's kind of doing what you would expect on getting into Corsair here, but like, it's nice to have that confirmation. Now Larva can really you know, optimize the build to make sure that he's got exactly what he needs to have exactly when he needs it. He could go for, you know, a pretty greedy Hydralist play if you wanted to on this map. You only need to defend with Hydras at the natural, and you can kind of get away with a lot. Oh, okay, it's open up enough now that the Zealot probe can slip by. Not a lot of Lings here, but he does manage to surround and kill the probe, gets rid of that. The scout into the main is very nice though for Best. You can see now that it's not a greedy Hydra play. Instead, we're going to be seeing some Corsair's Scourge coming out here in a moment. He's got some time though to potentially put on the pressure. There's Dragoons coming across the map, Shun.
Well, the Dragoon can't fit up the ramp, but it doesn't necessarily need to. Just needs to punish this natural expansion. This is a cross tech though from Lava. Has some speed upgrade for his Lings. Trying to buy any time possible for some Hydras to slip down. I wonder if this gap is big enough for the Hydras. Should be if the Zealot can get through it. It does indeed fit through there. Kills off the Marine finally to make sure everything can get down there fluidly. A little bit of a problem here though for Lava. This Sunken is not ready and there's not that many Hydras. There's just barely enough to surround these Dragoons from behind and start to clean this up, but he's losing a few Hydras for his troubles and stopping a lot of the mining time in the expansion critically as well. And while this is all going on, he's been losing Overlords to these Corsairs.
This is a really awkward attack from Best. I mean, I think it did enough to maybe justify the cost of the 2 Dragoons, but you hardly ever see kind of a strange push like that. What was that? 2 Dragoons, 2 Corsairs, 2 Zealots? Something like what kind of special forces army is that?
Something you don't see very often, but on maps like Jane Doe, you see a lot of stuff that you don't usually see. Saying
that's the joy of Jane Doe. Excuse me.
Yeah, but yeah. So let's see how Lava wants to navigate this. There's no early third base from Best, so maybe he won't go for, you know, a Hydra pressure play. You could still do that if there's not a lot of cannons on the ramp. Maybe you can still break through the Protoss here. It's definitely an option, but now he's got to worry about the Corsair fleet of Best because he's been slowed down a little bit. You know, he's not got as many drones as you would usually have. And there is already that significant Corsair force that can start to one-shot these Scourge as well. That's going to really eat into the gas that Lava has available. So he's got 3 gases mining to compensate for that. Let's see if he wants to go for a ground-based army with a lot of Hydras here, or if he maybe wants to go into some Mutalisk play. If he can secure the air with a bunch of Scourge, maybe there is still options to go for like a Muta-Hydra style or what have you.
There's 6 Corsairs total. Best managed to keep, I think, all of them alive, right? He did take quite a bit of damage on one of them, but here comes the 7th. That's kind of the break point. Oh, this is a really good attempt here from Larva to slow down at least this probe from taking the natural. Looks like he's not able to get the kill on that probe. Or did he? Actually, did that have one kill? You think he might have gotten that probe. Okay, he did get the probe, and he has to send a second one. That's pretty annoying for Best. Now comes the hardest part for the Protoss on this map, which is taking a third, because with these 3 bases established and so many Hydras being made right now, Best is going to have a hard time coming down the ramp and holding this base. And starts 4 cannons before the Nexus. You can tell how seriously Best takes this threat, and he is going to potentially get this base up here with that much commitment, that many cannons being made. I think he should be able to hold this one.
I wonder if he's made a Dark Templar, because he's killed the Overlord that was in transit to supporting this threat at the third base, but it looks like he doesn't even need it. Like, there's enough Zealots that have been made here that actually the Hydras have to be forced back to not only escort these Overlords around, but also to join forces with some additional Hydra. And yeah, this is going to become a real problem for Lava. He's not had an answer for these Corsairs running around the map for a very long time now, and he has been slowed down significantly. Like 69 supplied to 100 from Best. Like, you are supposed to be behind the Protoss in supply, but Lava is a tiny bit smaller than he should be at this junction of the game, Sam.
Yeah, it's looking like Larva may need to go into a 4th base. Now, the game really changes on Jane Doe in PvZ once you make this decision as a Larva. You're gonna have to lurker up heavy and hold hold your ramp on your side of the map. There's a couple of ridge lines. They're extremely important. One on Best side of the map, one on Larva side of the map. And if the Protoss ever gets up on that ridge line on your side of the map as a Zerg player, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So it seems like Larva is going to kind of batten down the hatches here, make a couple rounds of drones, saturate all these bases, get that 4th online, switch into Hive. In the meantime, he's gonna have to focus on controlling these ridge lines, and Best is already building up into a Dragoon force. You can tell he's got that upgrade coming on the Cybernetic score. He will be pumping out a lot of Dragoons and getting prepared to push across the map.
I mean, I could be wrong saying, but I don't even think Lava can transition into Hive right now. I kind of feel like he has to go full base Battle Zerg just to not die to the timing attack from Best. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he can. Maybe he can just barely afford it, but I kind of get the inclination that he probably doesn't even want to transition into Hive because he's so tight on resources after all that harassment in the early game. Might feel like he needs all hands on deck just to hold the timing attack that will be coming out of Best soon. He needs about 8 to 10 lurkers to hold initially. He's actually got a lot of Overlords here. Is he going to think about some kind of drop into the main base or the back
third
pocket
option
expansion? I don't know if that's a good idea. Oh gosh, I don't know if I like this, Sane. I think this could be devastatingly bad for Lava if he misplays this.
That's possible. He's gonna open up this back lane as well and look towards a drop here into the main. Ooh, he's getting some of the Corsairs. That's actually quite important.
Okay.
Killing off the Corsairs beforehand, and he managed to avoid the vision of these Corsairs. He's gonna open up this back lane, send the lurkers in to harass the mineral line as he's sending in this drop towards the back base. He sends in a few Overlords to kind of run distraction here. Bunch of lurkers in this, actually, killing a ton of probes. Oh my goodness, massive probe damage. And the Storm here not really going to do too much to all of these Hydras as they pop out. He's actually probably going to get the Nexus there. Larva has not moved a lot of those lurkers over at the third. If he moves those in right now, he could get so many kills, but he's kind of forgotten about it, it seems like.
It looks like he's just now remembered. This is a very interesting like 1-2 punch combination, and he's got an upper hook trying to finish up the whole combo. But good reaction time from Best. Actually pulls those probes out of dodge before the lurkers can get into position. This was a nice play for Lava, but he still has to survive the counter attack from Best. But look at Best, he's still kind of congested, trying to clean all this up. All of his army kind of stumbling over itself, trying to move around the Sim City of his base, and that's buying precious time for Lava to, you know, start to get this fourth base saturated, to make more rounds of units back at home. But there's not going to be a lot of lurkers to defend this timing attack, so this could be a massive comeback for Best if he can get all of his units to the front now. Looks like Lava's objective is actually going to be to slow down the attack by being more offensive and actually go for another follow-up drop just as Best is moving out.
I don't know if I like this, man. The counterattack is going to be so big after this. I think buying the time is good, but it would be actually really nice if he could come back in, pick up the Hydras, and leave, because he needs these back at home desperately. He hasn't really saturated the fourth. I don't know if he's building Sunkens back at home either. I feel like a ton of Sunkens and a bunch of Lurkers back at home would be amazing. Ooh, a switch into Mutas is kind of crazy, but I like it. This situation is so chaotic, and Best maybe moving across the map in a long line with, you know, spread forces here. Very vulnerable to a Mutalist counterattack. He's going to dive in. Killing some of these High Templars is huge. Drop inside the main base, going to kill that High Templar as it comes up on the high ground. The counterattack is coming, but Best is splitting his forces, and Larva is taking advantage of that.
This game is wild. Oh my god! Look at the Sunkens and the Lurkers as well. There's not enough forces here at the front. This is a very minimal investment from Best. He was trying to punish a Zerg that didn't have all of this static defenses and not enough rally units. This is a crazy cool play from Lava. I now fully understand why he's going after the probe lines with these Mutalists. Best is operating off of fumes right now. He thought he was going to get a lot done with half of his army, but actually no. All he's going to get is a consolation prize of trying to kill this fourth base, and actually doesn't really matter for Lava if he loses that expansion, since he's crippling the economy for Best back at home, saying.
He's killed so many probes. Oh man, this is a great play from Larva, getting those sunken colonies up just in the nick of time. Lurkers back at home too. I thought he would be making like pure Lurker here to try and hold off that attack, but he managed to slip out all of those Mutas as well. Dude, this puts him in a fantastic position. He will have to kill some of his own Sunkens to get back out on the map, but he is absolutely utilized this chaos in about the best possible way.
Yeah, he's quite literally built a ladder out of the chaos and has started to climb it. Look at the supplies. He's actually even on supply with Best. This is crazy, and this is like probably one of the hardest Zerg styles to go for in ZVP, and he's making it work, man. And Best is the comeback king in PvZ. Look at these lurker drops in the main and the natural as well, killing more additional probes. 8 kills on that lurker. It's insane the amount of damage he's done to the economy of Best, and Best is just stuck on cleanup duty from start to finish of this game, and because he can't commit all of his forces to an assault, it's now too late. He's had plenty of time to prop up so many Sunkens back at home that he would have to like elevator his army in with a bunch of shuttles to have any hope of killing off Lava. And yeah, even with these 3 bases only of Lava, it looks like it's going to be enough to overcome Best, unless Best can somehow find a way of stabilizing from this.
Yeah, I don't see a counterattack working. I don't think he can break through all that stuff at the front, and this is the great part about Jane Doe. You just build all these sunken colonies, and it completely defends all 3 of your bases. Just fantastic usage of the map from Larva. He can come out, try to take another base here or there. He's going to try to take 12, but he could try to expand. It looks like he does expand bottom right as well. He knows what bad shape that Best is in right now. He's lost so many probes. I don't think he's got 25 probes at this point.
No.
He's got so few.
He hasn't.
I mean, he is going to mine out very slowly as a result, but man, he is really hurting on income, and this army is the best that he can put together. He's 30 supply behind. I think Larva is just going to surround and kill this army, but we'll have to see if Best can break through. Okay, he does cancel it. Just going to let it go. I think that's a great choice as well. He does have bottom right after all.
Yeah, look at this double expansion. He's taken the 12 and the bottom right. So, you know, it's as far apart as possible. So even if Best does kill one, the other might survive. Going in for a bit of an Ogre Zerg move with some drop support as well. Picking off the High Templars first. And now some Hydras popping out. Actually, most of the Overlords going down to the Dragoons. A little bit of a mistake there from Lava. But it doesn't matter as long as he's crippling the economy continuously with these mutas. Should be enough heavy lifting to carry him in this game. And because Best is just continuously retreating back to home to defend, he's not even able to knock out these expansions that Lava is establishing. This is such a brilliant game from Lava, man. He always has such a out-of-the-box way of thinking about StarCraft in general, and is also a macro powerhouse, and it seems like more of a match for Best.
Yeah, this should be a clean finisher from here with this much of a lead. There shouldn't be any way for Best to come back. There's that Templar kills at the edge of the army, and the Hydras themselves are going to be brought to bear here momentarily to try and finish off this final army from Best. He's mining out of the main. He hasn't been able to reclaim the back pocket base, and he's just put everything he has into this army. Everything that Best has is at the front line here. He's very exposed back at home. A Mutalist counterattack could be extremely painful as he starts to push forward. Best, he can't just kill bases on the outline. Like, he can't kill bottom right and be satisfied. He has to end this game. Like, he's got to push through the natural, and that's exactly what Larva is banking on.
Well, this backstab from Lava is pretty nasty as well. Mutalist eviscerating through those High Templars, so the Hydras can get in here and just blow up most of the probes and the Nexus too. Best, once again, tactically withdrawing from the front lines to clean this up, but he's in a worse and worse game state every time he's done this. He's completely dried up. He's finally taking this back pocket expansion again, but it's pretty much too late. His main is almost mined out. He's not even close to tying up the supplies with Lava anymore, and was unable to squish one of these expansions that Lava propped up. So now Lava's got two fresh bases mining to supplement his main mining out. He's going to start playing Turtle Zerg up there as well, throwing down a bunch of sunken colonies. This base in the bottom right is a little bit squishy. I guess there's a world in which Best kills this base in the bottom right, takes out the stasis cells in the back lane, and attacks the third base from that little high ground lane area, and try to avoid the bulk of those sunkens and just, you know, get some storms onto the drone line or something. I don't think even that would be enough saying, especially with this 12 o'clock base.
Maybe Best could kill 12 and bottom right and then just retake his natural. Like, he's gonna mine out so much slower. If he's on 3 base and the Zerg is on 3 base and there's no hive, like, you should technically maybe win that game. Larva's just traded great though throughout here. He's killing even more probes. Oh my goodness, so many probes going down here, and he's gonna dive right on top of that Corsair, finish that off. Well, I guess the Corsair lives, and these mutas are gonna end up getting picked off. Seems like Best doesn't know about these bases though, and more sunken colonies are being made right now. Like, what are those, 6 sunken colonies at each base? Might as well, because you know you're gonna win as long as you keep these bases alive as Larva.
Look at how slow the mineral income is for Best. This is crazy. Like, he can barely afford probes right now. He can't even afford to make any units besides a High Templar or 2. He's just found out the bad news that there's a massive swarm of sunkens here at the 12 o'clock as well. I guess in theory he could take out these temples on the backside of that expansion and attack from the gas angle at that base, but it's too slow, and it's not going to be good enough either way. No way Best is thinking about front onto us. Okay, he looks like he's rotating down here to the bottom right. There's another mass of Sunkens and Lurkers. This takes me back to the early days of Lava, man. He used to always go for the Turtle Zerg style with just, you know, loads of Sunkens, Lurkers, Spores, holding the line so he can get up into a 4-base macro engine. And he's kind of done a variant here on Jane Doe, but with relentless drops and pressure as well. Very technical style from Lava, but it's really overwhelmed best.
At this point, you might as well attack the natural, because going up into high ground at either of those two bases is so hard. Like, maybe if you killed all the hatcheries of the natural and go up and kill some of the tech, there's a possibility of winning that game, but it's looking further and further. It's looking worse and worse here as time goes on. A drop going into this back natural, or this back pocket base. The Dragoons are here and in position, but the Hydras dropped right on top of them are going to trade very, very well against these pure Dragoons. And so he even blocks with the egg. Oh, that's classic. Classic Larva. Little flare there at the end to even get the max value out of those Hydra drops. GG is called. Larva. Larva wins. Best taps out. How many Sunkens is the right number of Sunkens in a scenario like that? There's, I mean, the number is basically infinite when you're gonna win the game. Like, the more that you make, the closer you are to winning that game. In that case, Larva just basically filled the entire high ground area with sunken colonies. It was the right move. It completely cut off Best from a win. He had no option left in that game aside from tapping out. Now we've got Rush taking the stage here in the top left.
Yeah, Rush is a very good player and pretty adept in TVZ as well. Hopefully he'll give Lava a run for his money, but already Lava lucking out a little bit. Scouting in the correct direction with his Overlord will be spotting Rush, and it's not like the end of the world to get scouted first as Terran, but like, if this was like a 10 racks or an 8 racks or whatever, like, it does kind of help out a little bit to get vision for the Zerg right away to see what you're up against and optimize against it appropriately. So yeah, this is a nice small win here, but looks like it is going to be a more traditionally timed barracks at 11 supply here from Rush. Nothing crazy, just going to be a normal racks expand, it seems. And that definitely is, you know, one of his MOs. He'll occasionally go for faster racks timings, but one racks FE is probably one of his most utilized builds.
Yeah, he's much more of a bio player than players like Royal and of course like Leda. Even Scan has been using a lot of 1-on-1 plays and mech plays and stuff recently against Zerg, but Rush is like that old school Terran player. He loves his bio play. He loves putting on early pressure and making things crazy in the mid game, and very rarely goes for a 1-on-1 style.
Yeah, and you can see like this early Overlord scout from Lava, because he identifies that there's no 8 racks or 10 racks pressure. He actually goes for a 12-12 optimization, so kind of setting himself up for a 2.5 hatchery, more, you know, macro-focused way of playing 2-hatch lair. So that's another reason why getting that early scout is nice, because you can kind of, I mean, you can do that anyway, but it means you know that you're safe while doing it, right? Like, having that slightly later pull, you're not going to have to be pulling like 8 or 9 drones to defend against a really quick attack, and everything just feels nicer for Zerg when you know you haven't got to make those commitments and you can optimize for the mid game more.
He's prepped, ready to go here with the absolute maximum number of drones potentially possible, making the minimum number of lings here with only 2 popping out initially. May want to add a few more here. Rush, well known as a you know, Naked Marine move out type of player. Like, he will pressure you with these early Marines. And now that he's seen only 2 lings, the temptation to try and come in here and force something off the line, force some of these drones off the line, is absolutely huge. Now, Larva's hiding lings at the natural. He's trying to hide the fact that he's built an extra set of lings here and keeping them away from the SCVs. He's baiting Rush to come in with these Marines so that he can absolutely wipe that out. And if he is successful at that, would be fantastic. Rush scouts it, though. He finds those lings on the high ground and should be able to make the proper adjustment.
Yeah, he shouldn't try to attack with these. You can beat 4 lings with 4 marines with good micro, but 5 marines versus 6 lings, it's a bit iffy. So probably Rush will not even try to attack until he at least has a few more marines. He might go with 7 or 8 though. There's a possibility that he thinks, okay, maybe Lava's got a slightly later gas, there might not be any ling speed to worry about. There's a chance that I could pressure in here, but actually sees the ling speed with his SCV scout, so he just quickly turns away with his marines as soon as he identifies that Lava did invest that 100 gas into ling speed. Won't be able to come out onto the map and punish, unfortunately. Has made a fire bat here to plug himself up and also utilize in the aggression if he wants to try and punish. Not that. Ooh, okay, good position to ambush the marines on this high ground, but actually Rush does a nice job of shuffling back the 2 marines from the front line. Now he has a timing attack. One sunken will be finished, but the other one will be a little bit trailing behind. So I wonder if Rush can actually break through this or not.
I think this is going to finish up just in the nick of time here. There it is.
Yeah.
Sunken colony done. So Rush can't quite break through, but honestly, some insanely good micro, dude. Like that pullback on the Marines was crazy good. You would expect Zerg to be standing on that high ground, right? Like that's just such a typical move when you've got, 6-8 lings to stand on the high ground and try to engage the moment that the Marines pass onto that high ground. But rarely does it go that well for the Terran player. Like that pull away with the 2 Marines saves their lives, or at least one of their lives, and allows him to trade very efficiently. Now Larva's a bit on the back foot with these 2 sunken colonies. He should be sending a drone out towards bottom right likely here soon. We'll see what the Mutas can do though, whether they can batter back these Marines or whether he wants to really commit into the main base.
Yeah, I think he's going to get up to 7 Mutalisks and then start going for the SCVs. That means Rush can be a little bit later on the turret timings. This isn't a sharp 2 hatchery play where the mutas are like at your base at the 6-minute mark hitting you. As you can see, they're like only starting to come into the base at like 6 minutes 30, and that's not even enough to one-shot SCVs yet. It's just enough to like one-shot Marines. So yeah, Rush has kind of gotten away with a teeny tiny bit of greed, not making an insane amount of turrets thus far. You will have to continuously add them on. It's kind of interesting from Lava to commit with only 5 mutas. I think this is a little bit of a mistake. I understand why he's doing it, to seize tempo back, because when you go for a 2.5 hatchery style, you're kind of giving a bit of breathing room to Terran, and he wants to punish Rush from making optimizations with cutting turret timings ever so slightly, but it actually doesn't pay off. He lost a Mutalisk, and a lot of them got bruised up here. Firebat in the bottom right actually scouts the 3rd base position and timing as well. Going to be trying to hide that in the bottom right for later, in case he can catch a drone transfer and get some Korean barbecue going. Let's see if the Mutalisks can be successful at least reducing the bio count before it gets too big.
I think that Larva was a little bit tricked there. Like, he thought that there might not be too many turrets in the main and he could come in and start to kill some SCVs. The way that Rush was moving his bio, you can see how he's trying to prevent the mutas from swinging around the right-hand side towards the main. And like, he was doing a pretty decent job of preventing Larva from heading into the main by just holding this position and kind of maneuvering around as Larva tried to make his way up there. But he, in fact, did have, 2 turrets already done at the CC. He had 2 turrets at the barracks as well, and Larva just wasn't able to get much done. Now he's managed to accumulate a pretty sizable force of mutas, and he's gonna go after these supply depots here at the front, but Larva's making a lot of ground out on the map while this is happening. Lings could potentially go in, try to kill a couple of turrets, but reinforcements are available. He finds the army here right in front of the natural. Can he take a decent engage with it? He's got a lot of lings to try and fight here, but he just pulls back for now. Larva not going to take the full engage just yet.
Yeah, he has to respect this timing. This is a potentially a pre-lurker timing that Rush was able to hit. Oh my god, it's 1 HP on this firebat in the bottom right. That's super annoying. Luckily, there's a Hydra popping out that can clean that up and eventually start morphing a lurker down there. He's made a 3rd Sunken to respect this timing here from Rush, so he can get his lurkers underway, and Rush obviously a little bit concerned about the Mutaling cleanup if he does commit to an engagement, so he's instead going to rotate round closer to this base in the bottom right, see if he can punish that. There should be just barely enough Mutaling here, though, to dissuade Rush from fully committing into either location. Looks like there's some tanks being made back at home as well. Looks like the continuation, or contingency play, excuse me, from Rush is going to be to try and hit before Defilers are out. But this is a nice attack from Lava, cleaning up some of the bioforce that would be reinforcing the main Terran army, shaving a little bit off the top, and also draining the medic energy quite significantly will make it hard to pass. Oh, and he identifies the dropship and the tanks. That's massive information for Lava now. He can optimize against this timing.
Uh-oh, everything's been revealed here. Rush gonna start to immediately move across the map. He knows that his cover's been blown. Lurkers at the front, getting a pretty good volley there, and he knows that there's not going to be vessels with this. He's seen the drop, he's seen all the tanks. He knows he doesn't quite have the ability to pump out some vessels to go along with this push, so forcing a couple of scans is going to be fantastic. Larva retreats to the natural. He finds the drop as it comes in. That'll immediately be killed, it looks like, without dropping anything. I think this is a fake. Nothing was in that drop ship. Lurkers here at the front are going to start to die. Is this a mistake from Larva to be this far out?
Could be. I mean, he's lost a lot of lurkers already. Just needs to thin out the Marine herd. Here comes some links to help make up there. It's reinforcements, though, coming in here from Rush. Lava disengages. There is possibility that Rush could break through here. Finally, a science vessel joining the fray as well. A few seconds away from a possible irradiate. A lot of these Mutalisks are pretty bruised as well. If he gets an irradiate on those, could spell disaster here for Lava. There's not much to hold the line against this tank push, and this could be a critical timing for Rush. Some panic sunkens being made as well. Rush making some good progress here, getting on top of everything. More reinforcements from Marines coming through from the Terran. Impeccable macro. Lava falling apart.
Ooh, I got a flashback of Best, like sending zealots across the map. Dude, Rush's parade push down the left side of the map there was fantastic. Marines arrived just in time to force the tap out. Larva's been defeated, and Rush will advance. Actual godlike macro displayed by Rush in that last game, keeping the pressure on non-stop. I really like the fake drop as well. Like he showed that he knew that the drop had been revealed. He sends it in anyway as he's attacking the front to draw the Mutalisks away at a very key moment. Some really good ideas there from Rush, utilizing the moment, utilizing the hands that he was given, like playing the cards perfectly to get that win over Larva. His next opponent, Bisu, spawning in center left now. Going to be opening with the gateway, putting on some zealot pressure early.
Yeah, let's see if this is going to be a Rax expand from Rush or just a normal gas timing. Looks like it is going to be that 12 gas. Yeah, really impressive stuff there from Rush. Like absolute masterclass of TVZ. Just contingency plans stacked upon contingency plans. Razor thin timing windows he's trying to exploit. That's how you play TVZ, especially at the top level. Like sometimes you've got like maybe a 5-second or a 10-second timing window to hit. And you've got multiple timing windows that you can set up for, but you do have to have impeccable macro and good decision making to actually capitalize on that. And he did a perfect job of it. You can see why he's such a well-respected player in the community. Let's see what Bisu can bring to the table now against Rush.
Yeah, it's also, I think, kind of a one of those, what is it called, the metagame loop that we were talking about earlier, where, you know, everybody's playing 1-1-1 Valkyrie play, everyone's doing mech and all kinds of other styles, and Rush is just bearing down with Marine Medic, which has been such a staple for a long time. And if he just sticks with it and stays, you know, with Marine Medic while everybody else is messing around, like he might have some really great success against Zerg players who are, training very hard to defeat these other styles and might be losing some of their fundamentals when it comes to handling Marine Medic.
Yeah, I actually like this. I like when the scene has players trying different styles. It gets kind of boring if like every TVZ we saw was, the same kind of SK Terran or bio play. Like, it gets a little bit stale. So the fact that you've got some players like keeping with it and other players like mixing it up and trying more tech-centric plays, I actually really like that in StarCraft, where everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but they are still optimizing out of their minds and executing the builds as crisply as possible. Let's see if Bisu could do anything. He's got a Protoss Zerg and a Dragoon. Only 4 Marines. Vulture's just now popping out to kind of make the difference, could help shave off the shields very quickly off of these units, but good targeting onto these Marines. Just 2 left. Probe goes down finally. Dragoon has been softened up enough to start batting it back, and with a little bit of a tickle repair on that Vulture as well, Bisu has to temporarily abandon the assault, but he has another Dragoon coming in, and the bunker will be finished in time. In theory, you could try and go for a run by here as Protoss, but with the Dragoon softened up as much as it is, it's a tiny bit ill-advised. Better to just kind of hold the line here and wait for the range to finish up and throw down the Nexus.
Pretty solid attack there from Bisu, but nobody really does that attack better than Mini. Oh my god! Citadel. All right, we're going for DTs. I was just gonna say, Dragoon, Zealot, Probe. Like, is there anybody who can get more damage than Mini with that small combination? I don't think so. Yeah, Bisu is insanely good. He's well respected for his control, especially with Dragoons, but that like weird combo of units, I've seen Mini pull apart countless Terran players with it. Some decent damage at the follow-up is totally crazy. Bisu gonna go for DTs now. Is he gonna walk them across the map, or will he be throwing down a Robo here in a moment? Robo is way more of a commitment, but walking DTs in on your Terran opponent, like, that hasn't really worked recently. It's not very typical these days.
Yeah, I think Snow is another honorable mention for players that are good with those kinds of engagements, but Mini does seem to be a bit of a specialist with that kind of unit composition this early on. Okay, we've got 4 goons. We can, get a 2-volley shot off on one of these tanks, maybe punish Rush if he overextends ever so slightly. You can see a bit of footsies being played with those tanks without siege mode, kind of coming back and forth a bit, seeing if he can bait the Dragoons in and definitely avoid being volleyed off of the board. Even though technically the bunkering tanks beat those squad of Dragoons, you don't want to throw away a tank for free here. And yeah, this is a bit different from Bisu, going for the very fast Temple attack, and you can translate that into Arbiter with an expansion as well. This isn't like to kill Rush necessarily. Okay, it looks like a 3-tank push timing here from Rush. Unloads the bunker, says that it's time to go. Let's see how good the micro is. Doesn't quite catch that Vulture as it slips up onto the false high ground, but it is 1 shot now. Maybe needs to repair that back up a little bit. And DT's already out. This can get very spicy. The engineering bay is only just now about to be done. If he makes only like 1 single turret at the front door, and that turret gets sniped by the Dragoons or something, he's in a lot of hurt. But it looks like the turret's not even going to be starting in time, potentially. This DT could get a lot of work. Oh, good mine snipe as well.
Yeah, Bisu is fantastic at sniping mines. I don't think Rush has seen it. He's seen it now. He's seen it now. He's turned around with his tank and Vultures. There's going to be turrets built in the main and natural. I think Bisu is going to get a huge amount of damage. I haven't seen a Terran player really lose or take critical damage to walking DTs in a pro game for a long time, but I think we're going to see it here. This is going to be a ton of damage. He does manage to finish the turret. Great blocking with the SCVs there in the main, but the natural is another factor.
Yeah, he did a great job of like preemptively surrounding that turret with the SCVs. Bought him enough time to finish that up. So yeah, I mean, he's mitigated a lot of this damage initially. Can he get this other turret set up in the natural? natural. Here comes another DT, picking off the building SCV. Pretty good surround with the SCVs yet again to try and finish up this turret. It has lost quite a lot of the SCVs in the progress, but this is okay for Rush. He hasn't taken critical damage and was able to stabilize pretty convincingly. Has got a lot of idle SCVs, as you can see. There was a lot of, you know, impromptu crisis management that he was forced to execute, but he's done a pretty damn good job of it. Here we can see Bisu translating this into an expansion, as well as that Stargate play for most likely Arbiters. So a very typical follow-up, but honestly, Bisu hasn't done as much damage as he would have liked to with that.
Yeah, that was looking like a lot more damage considering how far away the turrets were from finishing when the DTs arrived. I thought he was going to get more out of it, but that's just some incredibly strong Terran play. The SCV pulls were kind of miraculous. The way that he blocked there in the main was incredible, and you know, if that damage in the main starts to hit a little bit harder, then it's longer for him to get the natural reclaimed, and things start to get out of control very quickly. But I think Rush has done a great job of maneuvering this difficult situation. He's now pushing out on the map already. Is this really wise when you've only got, you know, maybe a couple of scans on your hand? Like, he's got the scanner's just finishing up now, so he's going to be super low on detection.
Yeah, this is very greedy for Rush to try and go for this, but theoretically this could pay off in a big way. But like you say, he's only going to have like 2 scans to make this attack work, but he is kind of distracting Bisu with this Vulture raiding party, and now here comes the attack time. He needs to set up a turret up here by the tanks to make sure he's safe, so he doesn't have to waste too much of his scan energy just maintaining the position here. Looks like this could be successful. You know, there's no DT nearby. There was a DT out on the map, but it was close to the natural of Rush. Wasn't in position to quickly respond to this. Now there's mines, now there's a turret. This attack looks pretty good so far here from Rush, I've got to say. Saying it was definitely a risky gambit. So far it's paying off.
Yeah, on paper this shouldn't work, but hell, Rush gave it a shot, and Bisu gets taken a little bit off guard. He ends up allowing this position to be established, and I mean, he's throwing down emergency pylons to try and create a secondary wall here. It's not really working for him because he hasn't bought enough time, I don't think, to actually deal with this attack. He is going to start to hit this now. Zealots are coming forward. They do not have speed. They will be killed off very quickly. 4 tanks only. Can he actually prevent? Oh, he's going to target the pylon. Pylon target there. Probes are going to be pulled. Does he target the probes with the tanks? No. Probes, a lot of them are going to escape, and Bisu will hold, although he did lose a bit of economy for the cost here.
Yeah, the attack wasn't quite successful enough for Rush, inevitably. Didn't kill enough of the probes there. If he eliminates the entire probe line, they kind of break even ever so slightly. As it stands, this is pretty nice for Bisu. He can take a 4th base, and since most of his army survived, they only had like 4 tanks there, so he'd actually lose a whole lot of his army as well. Like, this is a pretty nice setup from Bisu going forward. It's actually going to be a really tough game for Rush. He's relegated to taking his false high ground as a 3rd base. Going to be keep chugging along. Obviously, he still has a chance to win this, but he's not going to be able to be aggressive for a very long time. He's going to be in a defensive posture for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, he's setting up on this high ground, a false high ground over at this base, this 3rd base. Done enough probe damage maybe to stabilize himself. 4th base on the way for Bisu. I don't think he can really attack into this. We saw how successful Best was with Arbiter play earlier. Can Bisu kind of replicate that? I mean, he's been around for so long. His Arbiter style has been so powerful throughout the years. Like, it's just been so long. I haven't seen a Bisu Arbiter game for longer than I can remember, man. It just has not been in fashion for so many years now.
What was that map? I can't remember what it's called. It wasn't Fortress or something. I can't remember what the map was called. But yeah, Bisu did the recall onto the tanks I remember that. That was a few seasons ago. That was one of the first times we've seen recall being used onto the actual Terran tank line. I haven't seen him use a whole lot
so
of
many people happy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him use a whole bunch of arbiters since that time. So yeah, let's see how well he's going to do. Looks like he's even setting up for a 5th base here at the 12. Pretty ambitious from Bisu, but I like it. And even a cannon here to deter this couple of vultures. But he does kill some of these probes on transit over here to that mineral-only expansion. It's a nice little pick up there from Rush, but this is the bare minimum to keep him in the game. Like, none of this is good. This is just like, okay, I still have a playable game state here. I'm not completely dead.
He's not dead by any means. Rush locking down this base. He's got very good mine coverage. How's his mines in the main though? It looks kind of open. There may be an opportunity for a recall in there, and we're again in a situation where the Terran player is pretty spread out. If there was a recall in this main base right now, it'd be difficult for Rush to get back there and defend while keeping his frontal base alive. 150 energy Shun. Are we going to see a recall into that main? I think it's very possible.
He scans it.
As he moves into position, scan goes down, he sees it, but is he prepared? I mean, he's probably rushing right now to start throwing down mines in that main base. Yeah, he is. He realized it. This is what's going to happen. Diving right in on top of the mineral line. Huge recall. Oh my goodness, so many units in this recall, but a very quick response from Rush getting into position. He's actually wiping this out pretty darn handily.
Yeah, I mean, that scan was huge, able to put a lot of his army back into his main base to do a cleanup on R5 here. And not that many Dragoons with the recall. This was, you know, predominantly a Zealot heavy recall, and that's actually not what you want. You only want a Zealot heavy recall when it's on top of tanks. So yeah, he's actually trading this out very efficiently, and when all the dust is settled, this kind of puts the supplies back into a more normal differential here, and it's going to be a carrier transition from Bisu hidden at this 12 o'clock base. So even though this recall didn't do a whole lot, it's going to slow down Rush from taking a 4th base, from thinking about moving out to punish any of these expansions. And yeah, this still might be good enough for Bisu, just sandbagging the Terran while he tries to get into this carrier transition.
Yeah, he's keeping the threat alive, and probably with the way that the game is going and these constant threats to recall, Rush not really going to be thinking about a potential carrier transition. Like, that's probably not really going through his head right now. Bisu gonna poke at the front, but he's got to be careful not to lose too much army while the actual carrier transition is underway.
Right.
If he, does a poor recall and loses a lot of stuff to mines, for example, suddenly the Terran player can turn around and attack you before the carriers are ready, and you can very quickly lose the game. This is great news for Bisu, though. Rush trying to take bottom center, that's exactly what he wants right now. He wants you to be sitting back home scared, setting up defenses while he's making the transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's think about the upgrades as well. Like Rush, he's got 1-1, but his +2 weapons timing is actually quite delayed, which lines up nicely for a carrier transition as well. The longer this game goes on, the better it will become for Bisu here. And, Rush is going to be a little bit scared until he's close to that maxed out mark where he's like, oh, okay, maybe I can start pushing towards the center a little bit here. But it might be a few more moments until he elects to do that. Good scan actually identifies the Arbiter moving into position for another potential recall here. Really on top of his star sense is Rush in this game, responding to the active threats of Bisu. But will it matter? At the moment, Bisu is kind of just threatening him with the idea of it without actually fully committing. Another good scan, gonna see this Arbiter retreating back towards the center. Knowing that there's not a recall coming means he can keep all of his army at the front, and maybe think about some kind of attack timing soon now that he's maxed out.
You guys are confused. He was killing his own probes to open up supply for carriers. Just targeting with the cannons there is a nice way of getting rid of a couple of supply. He's just he's not even planning to really recall here. I don't think. Like
Here
he might recall this as a distraction, but he really doesn't need to. Keeping this with the army and utilizing it for stasis to slow down an attack, I think is probably going to be the better option. Bisu is approaching that scary level of carrier army. Like once you hit about 4 to 6 carriers, that's when things really start to get out of control. And yeah, he is going to free up a bit more supply here. Start another round of carriers. He's already at 3. He will be at 6 here soon.
Yeah, it's actually good to kill your own units and probes off to do that, because if you just like send in some probes or units to die for free, the Terran player might get suspicious that you are actually doing a carrying transition. And while the scans have been good from Russia identifying the movement of the Arbiters, not good enough to identify the actual overall strategy of Bisu here. Finally, we see some confidence from Rush starting to move out now that his upgrade's going to be kicking in, and he realizes that actually there's not going to be that recall coming online that he has to clean up. He's got a 5th base that will be done soon as well, but is it too late or not? Bisu's gonna have such a scary amount of carriers to contend with. Actually, no, he only just now started that science facility, so there is not gonna be a 2-2 kicking in for Rush anytime soon. He's in a lot of trouble. Here comes that stasis you were talking about, saying to slow down the Terran advance as well, kind of faking an attack and then pulling back. Uh-oh. Rush is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place here, as he's got 5 carriers finished up with more on the way.
I think Rush is about to be completely blindsided. Here comes a recall. Just shutting down this base. This is a great recall. Like, Rush might counterattack right now. He might just go for it, but there's a good chance that he turns around at least some units to come and deal with this. And splitting up the army right now is going to give Bisu a great chance to wipe this out with carriers. I don't even see any Goliaths, man. Dude, Rush is completely blindsided. Completely. He has no idea. He has absolutely no idea. He's completely maxed. He can't even make Goliaths right now, Shun.
Nope. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble, saying he's even got Arbiter carrier as well to make it just a little bit more of an insult to injury. This is so deadly. What can you even do? You don't even have 2-2 upgrades, so even if you do somehow make a ton of Goliaths, they're not going to trade that fantastically against Arbiter carrier here. He's going to rotate the tanks around so he can play whack-a-mole with some of these expansions, but it's not going to be enough tempo to make this work, unfortunately, I don't feel. He's even got, like, you know, some high Templars up here as well to storm some of the mech that comes his way, even a DT mixed in there. Uh-oh, saying Rush is very close to getting absolutely obliterated.
I mean, he's got so many bases online, but he can't really do anything with his army. He's trading out so poorly because of the carriers. He's trying to push top right, but dude, these are all sacrificial. He's not even gonna get the Nexus over here either. This is like a ladder game where the Terran player has no idea. Bisu's done a fantastic job of completely blindsiding Rush, and it's hard to imagine that, you know, Rush is very happy about this game. He's probably kind of like smacking himself on the head right now that he didn't at least scan the cybernetics core while, you know, Bisu was flying around constantly with that Arbiter and just not recalling him over and over again.
Well, he was being quite hesitant to scan too much. Like, most of his scans were going on identified. How many Templars? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. He has got enough scans to clean this up, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you're still not going to win the game at this point, Rush. The carriers are going to have an absolute field day with him. But yeah, because he was scanning the positioning of the Protoss army and the Arbiters as well, he didn't really have much surplus scan to try and identify any possible tech transitions. GG is called. What a fantastic game from Bisu, man. Is this going to be the time to send out Soma for the Zerg squad, or are they going to keep him as a last hope pick? I wonder. Let's find out next.
Bisu, the magician with the classic misdirection, pulls off a trick on Rush, and now that he's peeked behind the curtain, probably kicking himself for not paying enough attention and getting completely blindsided by Bisu's attack there. It's time for the next customer, though. Bisu, can he pulls a magic here against Hero, who's taking the stage in top right?
Yeah, seems like Soma gonna be the last pick for the Zerg squad. Gonna see if Hero can do a little bit of heavy lifting to start things off. Has been in a bit of a slump for a while, but has also put out some good games as of late. You never quite know what hero you're gonna get on the day at the moment. Used to be known as Mr. Consistent, but lately hasn't been able to shine too brightly. Let's see what he can do this time around. And oh my gosh, he's actually gonna be doing a 9-pool speed opening here. Wow. Against Bisu, and Bisu doesn't see the Overlord. Look at the Overlord scouting pattern from Hero. It's genius. He's scouting in an unorthodox manner to the bottom right natural rather than the traditional path of going to the natural in the top left. So Bisu checks the 12 o'clock with the probe to see there's an Overlord coming, doesn't see it, and now doesn't think that Hero is here in the top right.
This is really dangerous too, because he's open with a gateway expansion. Have very few zealots to deal with this. You actually have to pull quite a few probes to keep control of the gateway and the pylon. Otherwise, you just kind of lose. If you lose this gateway, game's kind of over. Yeah. It's a really a tightrope walk that you're walking with this build as Bisu. Pulls off of the gas. He gets the speed going completely. On the wrong side of the map is that probe. It's going to scout down towards bottom right. Won't find anything, and Bisu's in a bad position. It's actually Hero who's pulled the magic trick here and completely blindsiding Bisu this time. Dude, he's going to surround this. Oh my gosh, losing the first zealot is massive, dude. As long as he's got more lings on the way, Bisu is potentially just going to die after this falls.
Yeah, and he's got ling speed as well to run circles around the usual mini game that Protoss players can play in this natural expansion. Now that the first zealot is dealt with, Bisu has to come off the line with additional probes to hold. This is going to get very spicy very quickly. He needs a good connections and surface area denial against those Zerglings. He catches the Zealot as it pops out. Doesn't quite get the full surround, but maybe still good enough to soften it up and keep the aggression going. More and more additional Zerglings are coming. Natural expansion being taken by Hero behind this as well. Finally clears up that Zealot. Trying to go for the last remaining one. Doesn't quite finish it off without losing most of the probes, though. Has a few left remaining to fight against these probes with these Zerglings, but another Zealot's popping out. At the moment, Bisu's still alive, but with these two speedlings getting into the main base, it's going to get a little bit difficult.
Holy, that was actually very close. The one zealot there lasting on about 1 HP for such a long time. He's kept the gateway alive here, Shin. And that's the key thing. Like, this gateway is not even low. Quite a few probes were pulled, but you can afford to pull probes against this play. It's fine. There's been a huge sacrifice here by Hero going for this 9-pool speed. His economy is not good, and he needs to deal a lot of damage to even out and equalize in this game. He's killing quite a few probes, 3 or 4 more in the main base. The cannon is getting close to finishing, but I think he might have done enough damage to start to stabilize. He's going to try and surround these last couple of probes and the zealots down here on the low ground. I think these zealots will win this fight, though. And yeah, Bisu fully stabilizes. He can start to make zealots and pressure Hero now. This is a bad situation as these zealots come across the map.
Yeah, this is a nice hold from Bisu, man. Very close to being able to throw down that Nexus as well. He's going to plop it down. There is a macro hatchery that came out from Hero, so it's going to be 3 hatcheries worth of production soon. Can't really do anything in the main in the way of harassing these probes anymore with that cannon there, but he's going to continue the aggression, put a little bit of pressure onto this gateway. Has those lings to wrap around for surrounds, maybe pouncing onto the cannon when it eventually goes down as well. Definitely some options still remaining for Hero. He challenges the Zealot line, tries to go for a surround. I don't think he'll kill all of these Zealots, but maybe he can soften them up enough that he can then start to put some damage onto the cannon as well. Let's see if there's enough DPS to eliminate the cannon. Looks like he does get the cannon with some additional lings now running into the main base to set up for an additional surround over and over again to deny these cannons from finishing up. Now he's going to be on 3 hatchery production. He could potentially overrun Bisu.
Oh boy, yeah, this is way too much production. Hero's done a great job of following this up. He has not focused on building drones at all. Look at the natural right now, empty of economy. Bisu deciding to get this Nexus before taking or finishing up the cannon might have been a big mistake, and in fact he's gonna lose the gateway now. The gateway is gonna fall and the cannon goes down as well. This is gonna be GG. Nothing really you can do from a position like this. Hero can kill the Nexus and make a bunch of drones, give himself a great position, and indeed Bisu taps out. Damn, that was a really nice follow-up to the 9-pool speed. It was looking pretty close to held there for a moment, but since he was throwing down hatcheries behind it and sneaking out a few drones here and there, was able to overwhelm in the end, and kind of puts us once again very close. I guess Hero, if Hero gets taken down now, we're going to be once again in a situation with 1 player apiece on each of these squads. Funny how that keeps happening. Maybe we're going to break this streak here today. All right, set number 6, Light sending out a super early SCV. We're going to have some serious early aggression here.
BBS.
Double. Oh, BBS. And he's splitting them. He's splitting them. We saw this. We saw this before.
Yeah. In the round of 24.
That's right. It's been long enough. We can talk about it.
Ample. Yeah, Ample versus Sulky, right?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was like... This was in my mind, something like this. When we first saw this map, because of the giant open center with so much buildable terrain, it seemed like a no-brainer that we were going to see a lot of matches like this, where we're going to see a lot of plays like this, but it's really been they've been using it very sparingly, these Terran players. So funny to see Light pull it out here. Can be highly effective. Even if you scout one of these barracks, you're not necessarily going to know it's a BBS.
Well, the funny thing is like, even if you do drone scout and you do like a cross drone scout, you probably won't see either of the barracks with the cross scout.
That's so
and
true.
if you do a traditional oh look, he's checking the center. He's actually going to the top.
He's not going to see it.
He does. He barely sees it by a couple of pixels. Oh my gosh. 1 hex tile worth of vision. Maybe could help save him here in this potentially disastrous situation. Let's see how good the execution is going to be from Light. Can Hero stand up to the heat? I don't even know why he's not cancelling his gas. Finally, he cancels his gas. Should have done that immediately. Needs all drones, all hands on deck here. Already lowering one of those drones' HP down to almost dead. Puts the drone damage onto the SCV on the bunker. Oh my gosh, this is going to get crazy, Sam.
Every single drone has been pulled. 4 Marines, and they're all inside the bunker. Oh my goodness, just like that. Oh, I think 1 didn't make it in. Oh, great blocking with the SCV too. Oh my goodness, that was so much damage.
I'm a big fan of Hero, but that was funny to watch even for a Zerg player, man. Oh my god, that's about as devastating as it gets. Like, this is just like a guy contemplating his existence and having existential dread right now. He knows how much trouble he's in. He's just processing the game. Gonna see if he can get enough Zerglings to go for a surround on the bunker, but with those 2 SCVs blocking and more Marines showing up, it's not enough to kill both. He will be tapping out. This is a nice win for Terran on the board. Gonna be having 1 player apiece yet again, saying, how does this trend? Oh, he pulls out his internet cable. He's like, I'm not accepting that. Oh,
way,
what a
no
disaster
way.
for Hero, man. One game, one player apiece yet again saying, but Soma is definitely a worthy team captain to be waiting in the wings at least.
The pattern continues, guys. Mini spawning in top left. Face off against Light. One player apiece again. I wonder how long it's going to be before, you know, they start sending out Soma first, or, you know, the best player from each squad first, because it's so tempting at this point with that all kill price getting higher and higher.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but Mini versus Light has had some of the most banger matches we've had ever in the KCM. Do you remember that game where it literally came down to like neither player was mining and there was like a few siege tanks and a Reaver and it like came down to the wire? Like, they've had such insanely fun games to watch. I wonder if we're going to get anything like that here today. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like a gateway in the natural from Mini to start things off. Let's see if Light wants to go for a bunker expand here on Knockout or not. Does feel kind of strong with that trench, but he's actually not. He's going to be making normal 12 gas here, opening up with a factory FE. Very standard orthodox play to kick things off.
Yeah, that game I think was in the best of 2025. I make one every single year, guys. I make a best of with all my casts, except for the ASL, excluding the ASL. So KCM. And the ladder series that I do on my channel as well. But if you guys see a game that you think deserves to be in that best of, let me know in the comments, because I do appreciate it. Like, sometimes I kind of miss out on games, or I forget about games, forget to add them right away, and then they kind of slip the mind. So, you know, if there's a game back there that you think is worthy of the best of 2026, let me know. Let me know, and I'll definitely consider it. At least take a second look and see if it's worth putting in. But we're probably in for a banger here. Like, you're exactly right, Shun.
Yeah.
These two, when they butt heads, it's usually going to be fireworks. It's going to be sparks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how this game develops for sure. Here comes the Zealot Probe combination. Third Marine not quite finished because it's not cross scout, so Light has to fall back to the Sim City while this factory finishes up here. Pretty standard mini game that we see. But as with the Third Marine finishing up, you know, that basically is a sign that the initial attack is over. You have to wait for an additional gateway unit to come down here. With that Dragoon in support, maybe could at least delay the expansion timing here from Light. Pretty hard to break the ramp with the SCV block and the Marines behind. It's going to put a little bit of damage onto the SCV, at least maybe see if he can get a few lucky coin flips on putting some damage onto those units. But any slowdown on the expansion of the Terran is pretty critical when your own expansion is delayed because you're not doing a rangeless expand. This is about as late as you can make a Nexus and still be in the game.
Oh, the Vulture slipped out. Okay. Put a little damage onto it. Wasn't able to block it, though, at the natural. And the second Dragoon, I don't think that's going to necessarily catch up to this. He might be able to trap it into a corner and take it out. No, he turns around. Doesn't want to allow that to, you know, take him on an absolutely wild goose chase. So pulls away from the Vulture. Going to just make a mental note. That is on the map. He does need to keep his wall blocked in. Make sure that that doesn't manage to slip by, but he wants to put on more pressure with these Dragons at the front. Light yet to take a CC. He's actually building it on high ground, totally respecting the damage that Mini could put onto him. Zealots and Dragoons are going to start to push here. Missing a lot of shots, but he's actually making progress. He's taking care of all the Marines. SCVs are going to have to come down the ramp right now, and this the Zealot Probe is going to be able to do some really good work at the bottom of the ramp. How many have been killed at this point? So many have actually died. He is going to be able to block these Dragoons from coming out. Can he kill the tank? Is he going to get the tank? It's so low. He gets the tank. Huge kill there. That was absolutely Fantastic. 1 HP on this Dragoon and 4 kills. Nobody does it better than Mini with these early game units. I'll say it again, man. I said it earlier before he came out. He absolutely crushes it with these first few Special Forces units.
So Light will clean this up, but he's lost quite a lot of it. Oh, he actually kills that final SCV with the 1 HP Dragoon. Really min-maxing to his heart's content, having to kill his own pylon now that the Vulture backstab threat is somewhat over. And yeah, this is a variation on Light's build. Like there was a Jinjin video where like Queen was kind of clowning on Light a little bit. But also, Light was talking about like, oh, I've made builds, and he was talking about how he invented the build where you like make a few Marines and build a CC on the high ground. This is kind of like a variation of that. Most of the StarCraft players are not theory crafters; they just emulate what builds the smart players create. So you know, it's more about how well they can execute other people's builds rather than inventing their own. But this variation of Terran, where he's building the CC on the high ground, is actually something Light is quite familiar with. Maybe he can still translate this into a very playable game, but that was still quite a lot of damage he was forced to sustain.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a bit of a layup for Mini if he plays his cards right. He's managed to kill so many SCVs in the early game and delay that that CC by such a large amount. Plus the tank kill, like, there's just too many things have gone right for Mini so far. Light is a heck of a player, but Mini is in such a significant lead here. He's gonna have to do something kind of fantastic to try and bring this one back.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough, man. It looks like it is gonna be you know, 1 factory armory initially from Light. He's kind of sacrificing any potential early game pressure to go for something like that, but he kind of needs to as well. He kind of has to dig deep and kind of dig his heels in rather than think aggressively right now. If he went for something like a 3 factory pressure, it just wouldn't be strong enough with how many SCVs he's lost. I wonder what he's going to transition this into, like if this is going to be like a committed tech mech style with double armory and a very delayed third base, or if he'll still try and go for like a 5 factory into expansion. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Mini is not going to be sweating it at all. He can actually double expand if he wants to and go for like a 8 minute 30 4th base here. Would be pretty optimal for him to go for that.
Yeah, so many Terran players, when they're pushed to this degree, I feel like they're very tempted to go for a 6 factory and just try to end the game. 6 factory plus 1 and just go for broke. Like, hope that the Protoss player cut some corners and just didn't have things in time. This is a nicely timed Citadel, though. I think that Mini is not going to be the guy to cut those corners. Seems like he's going to have everything online, and, you know, with a pretty powerful 4 base economy, should be able to get the gateways in time to deal with this. Like, he hasn't started to add them just yet, but we're going to see that probe transfer, and then suddenly the income is going to skyrocket. Mini can really start to crank out gateway units and prepare for this attack. Light looks like he's going to at least 5 factory. We haven't seen the 6 fact yet, but we haven't seen a CC either, so we're not sure exactly where he's going with this.
He's just so tight on minerals than he would usually be, right? Like after losing those SCVs, like he could afford normally to get a 9 minute CC. He just can't because of those SCVs. So it looks like he has to pick one or the other, and he's electing to go for the 5 factory without an expansion for the time being. And okay, it's going to be a starport after the 5 factory play. So it's going to be a little bit more tech centric. Rather than focusing on economy. Seems like he's focusing on army and tech. You kind of have 3 different elements you can pick in StarCraft: your economy, your tech, or your army. Usually you can only optimize 2 at any given time. So yeah, Light is focusing on just having as big of an army as possible while also getting his tech online. Also opens up options for attacks. You know, he could use this starport to make Wraiths to shut down Shuttle Reaver. He could make dropships to put on some pressure to the economy of Mini. But there's an observer literally parked on top of that starport, so Mini knows everything.
Mini. Oh, okay. Gets one hit, but not really dealing any significant damage. Wants to utilize his high ground as best he can to slow down, whether it be a push or an expansion. I think we're going to see expansion here soon from Light. I kind of like this. Like, he's going to try to throw things at the wall, see if they stick. If he can get a drop in and deal some economic damage to Mini while getting this third base online smoothly, there is a real possibility of Light, you know, bringing this into a longer game where he can have a really good chance. Oh, Scarab on the front of these Goliaths, but the Goliaths do their job. They get rid of the shuttle, and now Mini has to retreat. This is a really nice, smooth push to the third base, and he's going to be able to take that without too much trouble while moving into this dropship play. Things are starting to line up a little bit for Light.
This isn't bad. You know, that CC started just before the 11th minute mark. That's about as late as you want to take a third base in the meta of TVP, unless you're going for something like a 6 factory, semi-all-in kind of gambit, and he's not. So it's nice that he was able to get that base down when he did. Here comes the dropship out now, loading up some... oh, he actually scans and sees the observer, so now he knows that Mini knows that he's got this dropship as well. So it means he can be maybe a little bit more tactical about how he engages with this. Looks like Mini's actually not in position to stop it coming into the natural. Having a bit of a hard time getting his Dragoons back into position. So you're 2 in the natural, 2 in the main. Might still get quite a lot of work done, despite that observer seeing everything. Actually, Light getting probably some of the highest expected value out of these units, given that they were completely exposed.
Wow. Yeah, this is some great damage. Oh, drop here at the third base. Reaver actually gets targeted down pretty quickly. A lot of these tanks are out of the fight. They're a little bit too far back here to be a part of this. Zealots are still in pretty high number, getting up in that front line, hitting the face of these tanks and dragging a lot of splash damage onto those frontal tanks. And the command center is going to end up going down. Oh, boy. Like, the damage was really nice here from Light, killing off a lot of probes, but losing that third CC, man, that sets him back so far.
Yeah, a lot. Well, he's going to scoop up 2 vultures and unload them on the left-hand side of the 4th base from Mini here before that cannon can finish up. Still racking up a few probe kills. Zealot's going to come in here and finish these off. Actually attacking his own cannon. Uh-oh, Mini. That's not what you want to do. That's kind of hilarious. So well, they still get cleaned up by the other cannon anyway. But yeah, forced to remake this CC inside the main base. But, you know, because that fast starport, you know, the science facility was, you know, pretty nicely timed out. Means he's going to have +2 weapons on the way. It's not like Light is dead. Like, yes, this is a massive advantage for Mini going forward, but there's still a glimmer of hope. Light will eventually be able to re-secure this third base, and he will have a 2-1 timing. It's not like all hope is lost, I would say.
Yeah, it is tough, though, man. Mini is bearing down here with some more Zealots and Dragoons. His supply advantage is pretty scary, and he's going to come in here with an extra Reaver. Get rid of a few of these vultures before the fight begins. Dropping some Zealots in the back line, not really going to do too much, but the Reaver shot is huge. Ooh, the Scarab, so good. Getting rid of a few of these vultures is just fantastic right now. Looks like the Reaver might go down. No, it manages to live. He clears out the front line, backs away. There's another full round of units coming out here from Mini, though. And he's got a bunch of storms ready to follow up as well. Light is on the ropes, man, but he is still alive for now.
Does Light have a second armory? Because the observer is pointing out that the armory is not spinning, but I'm actually not fully aware of if there's another armory in the main base or not, because if that's the only armory, that means he's not getting +2 weapons on the way, which is actually going to be a massive problem for Light. Yeah, that's I don't know if he's just forgotten about it, or he was trying to cut corners because he was pumping out units and then just, like, yeah, didn't remember to go back to making that upgrade. But if he hasn't started that +2 weapons, I feel like this is potentially an unwinnable game. I feel like he needs that upgrade to have any hope of fighting Mini into this mid to late game transition.
Yeah, there's been a thread of Terran play, which has been, you know, sticking on very high factory count, pumping out a huge number of units and just staying on 1-1. That's actually been quite successful and counterintuitive to the traditional TVP style, but you're not going to be able to overwhelm Mini in this situation. Like, he is always going to have more than you. You have to get those upgrades online, and so I agree, this is a really sticky situation here. He needs to get that upgrade rolling, and I just don't see it happening right now. This secondary drop is just not going to do as much as the first one, and things are getting worse and worse here as this drop gets cleaned up. Light just doesn't really have an option for a fourth base. I guess he has to push towards bottom center, but Mini is going to hit him so hard when he attempts to do that. I don't know if he can even hope to survive. Yeah, it's still not spinning there. Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh. He's in trouble if he doesn't start that upgrade soon. Maybe there's still hope if he can take this 6 o'clock base and stop Mini from expanding too rapidly, but I don't know, man. This looks pretty scary. Like, there's a nice spread of tanks here, so it's kind of hard to engage into this tight little choke for Mini. We'll have to wait and see. +2 weapons for Protoss. Still 1-1 upgrades for Terran. He is catching some of these probes transiting up into this top right, but this is a nice win condition for Mini. If he gets this other rally point fully established and takes the natural expansion on the low ground while Light is just setting up the 6 o'clock base, Mini is very much ahead of the curve of the Terran, especially if there's not going to be that up early +2 weapons timing for Light. He's kind of playing like a normal 1-1 max out style, but he's way behind the curve of being optimal with that style.
Well, Mini's near maxed, and he's in position to hit this base. He's finally going to go for it. He's waited long enough for SCVs to be transferred over, so the storm is going to be insane. Oh my god, so many SCVs. Absolutely obliterates that mineral line. Drop again in here at the main base, and an attack over to top right. Light is making some very good moves as he loses all the SCVs at the bottom center.
Yeah, this isn't terrible. I mean, this could actually do something to Mini, especially hitting this base in the top right natural. Like, this is the one thing he needs to do. He needs to not let Mini get too greedy with this expansion warpath. It's one thing letting him set up the other rally point, but letting him get this additional base is terrible. By the way, if he had the +2 weapons upgrade, the Vultures would have killed the Nexus in that top right natural, but without the +2 weapons, Mini might actually just barely save it, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it looks like he will save that. It's rough, because some things are going right for Light, and you can see he's playing a strong game by doing all these drops while having a perfect setup back at home and slowly eking out these extra bases. But it's going to be so hard to fight, even in the middle of the map. We haven't even seen the storms yet come into play in some of these fights. Like, storm in the mineral line is going to hurt real bad, and it looks like most of the tanks are going to get cleaned up. Zealots are filtering through as well to get on top of these tanks, and Light is just going to go for it, man. He's just going to hit the counterattack, see what he can do over here on the high ground. He does manage to get on top of that third. Got to keep that CC alive while killing off one of these bases. Otherwise, he's kind of dead in the water. He does get up here, and it looks like this Nexus may end up dying, but 6 o'clock is getting routed.
Really nice preemptive D-Matrix on that frontal tank against the storm response of Mini. Splitting off 3 tanks to start hitting this base at the 12 o'clock. Nice mine detonation there at the 6 o'clock. But yeah, it looks like Mini is going to kill this 4th CC and now start trying to see if he can put some pressure onto the natural third mineral only of Light. This is going to be his last beacon of hope. His main and natural very close to being dried up, but nice tempo play from Light here. Trying to squash the 12 o'clock base and contain the rally point of the Protoss simultaneously. Has made good ground, but Let's see what Mini can do with this small contingency of forces on the southern hemisphere. There's not a lot of tanks here for Light, so Mini could do a lot with a little here. Even a storm drop coming out onto that mineral line, crippling the SCV count. And like I said, this is pretty much the last mining base of Light right now. He could float the main CC over to the 6 o'clock. Look how many SCVs are going down. Archon being morphed to help clean up those SCVs as well, with nothing to stop that from happening thus far.
And there's another High Templar there. If he gets another storm, he could absolutely wipe out every last SCV. Another great storm here, killing off a lot of these. 12 kill Archon. Oh my goodness, targeting down SCVs as best he can. 65 supply shin. I don't care if he kills the entirety of the top right. I don't think he's winning this game at this point. He just can't afford to make more units.
Well, it's sticky. In theory, Light can do it, but he needs to trade off this army at his third base without pretty much losing anything in addition to that. Let's see if he can successfully do that or not, because that's the main order of business. He could also then float the CC in the main to the 6 o'clock to keep expanding while hitting this base in the top right. But you are still absolutely right that this is pretty much a Hail Mary from Light, trying to finish the game with tempo alone. Yeah, it looks like he is being pretty successful at getting on top of this base in the top right and squishing that, but yeah, this is still not going to be an easy fight for him. But if he can somehow hold the line against Mini after killing this base in the top right, float a CC over to 6 o'clock, there is a tiny glimmer of hope for Light, but it does require Mini making mistakes.
Dude, how the heck is Light still in this game? Mini is going to try to dive in on top of this stuff. He's got just a few tanks here, and they're not well set up, nor do they had really good turret coverage here. So Light was a little bit busy over in top right, didn't have the setup in time. Mini immediately dives on this opportunity and smashes through the natural. A huge mine connection there, killing off quite a lot. But look, this is the last SCVs, dude. There's like none left. There's not even gas SCVs, I think, in the main base any longer. So we're looking at maybe 4 SCVs in total. How do you possibly win a game, even with Mini, barely mining in the natural and going to be mining out here soon? He can long distance mine more than Light can mine at all.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't even know how many SCVs are there. I'm gonna guess like 5 or something, like a very small amount. This should be GG. Mini should close this game out, but with these tanks coming down from the top right, Light thinks there might be a chance. Oh, he's gonna kill the comsats. He's gonna kill the comsats, and then the only detection will be the science facility. Okay, he still has the comsat in the natural expansion at least, so he's not completely stymied just yet. But if he does lose all the comsats and the science facility, then obviously some Dark Templars are going to have an absolute field day. Vulture spots the mineral only coming back up from Mini as well. 12 o'clock also being secured there. Has plenty more workers than Light does. Mini should be able to navigate this into a win. These SCVs are on very low HP as well, so should be able to finish them off with a little bit of a storm drop.
Storm plus Reaver Scarab to finish off the last SCV is like a bit of overkill there, but
he's got an SCV.
Definitely okay. One more SCV with the army sends that back, man. You got one mineral. He had 1 mineral in the bank, by the way. Now at 9.
He's gonna chip in a chair, Sam.
He's gonna try to push. I mean, it's 23 supply to 64, guys. What did we tell you? Mini versus Light, always a banger, and we're coming down to the wire again here.
Yeah, looks like there's just barely not enough from Light here to go on the counter attack and try and squash some of these expansions. It's a nice idea from Light. I like that he's staying in the game. He knows that this situation was very precarious, so there might have been a few win conditions he was able to isolate. Looks like that's not going to transpire this time around. There's just a few too many units squeezing out of these gateways. 16 supply to 62 now, and that should be all she wrote. Like Light is barely affording to make SCVs back at home. Another D-Matrix comes down though. Maybe if he can storm dodge and and Mini falls asleep at the wheel. There's a way of making this work, but it doesn't look like it.
Oh my goodness, just storming it all to death. That's a slow way to die, and he's got the counterattack. GG is called. Light taps out Mini. Finally takes this game home, man. That was a rough ride for him. Starting off the game in a really good position, but Light is a beast. He just will not stop. Then he had to shut him down by just cutting out his legs, man, by killing the SCVs over and over again. It's the only way. Well, quite the banger there for our Mini versus Light game, but we saved the best for last, boys. Mini versus Soma for match number 8. This should be a fantastic cross-map situation. Soma, the best Zerg player in the world right now. Mini got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, man. This guy didn't even make it through the qualifiers this season, but he is still such a monster.
Yeah, I'm curious how this one's going to play out. It's cross-map PvZ. Pretty good map for Zerg, has to be said, here on Attitude. With the cross-map, if he does get greedy with a Nexus first, maybe that advantage for Zerg will dissipate a little bit. But maybe he won't even feel like he wants to go for something like that. It is pretty ballsy to go for a Nexus first, even if it is a 4-player map. But yeah, we've had another week where it's come down to the wire, 1 player for each squad, and this time around even more crazy, where not a single player has got 2 wins yet. Like, at least in the other weeks when it came down to 1 player each, some of them had like 2 wins apiece, whereas now it's just 1 win for every player that has got a victory. Mini could buck that trend though. If he beats Soma here, he'll be the only player this week with 2 wins.
That's kind of crazy. Like, last season, how many all kills did we have? We had so many.
A lot.
We had so many all kills.
A lot.
And now we're getting going the completely opposite way, where we're now in a situation where nobody can get more than 1 win. That's kind of nuts, but I mean, at least they keep it fresh. You know, the writing team for KCM. At least they, you know, mix it up. Keep us guessing.
Keep us guessing. Yeah, they certainly do, Sam. Gonna be a gateway expand here from Mini against the overpull of Soma. Nothing too spicy, but because it is a gateway expand cross map, means the Zealot arrives just as the Lings are popping out. So actually, we won't be seeing that early aggression from Mini this time around. He's actually delayed this Zealot a whole bunch, and will be throwing down a quick Nexus, not actually trying to put on much pressure early on against Soma here, it seems.
Yeah, okay. This Zealot is kind of far out here, man. Are you really going to send that right in? I guess he's going to take a bit of a trade and actually runs by. Third Ed Center left.
This is risky.
It is very risky, but you know what? Look at this. Soma turns around. He actually decides, you know, not to clean this up with rallies. Wants to bring the 3 Lings back, and so this is actually not too bad for Mini. He can fight with the Probe Zealot combo and possibly take a pretty good trade. Okay, nice target fire onto that probe, man. We really want to get as much damage on the probe as possible, and he caught Mini in a second there where he just wasn't paying attention. Again, great target fire. Picks that off before Mini can react. Soma sending more Lings here to try and put on additional pressure.
He's going all the way up to like 10, 12 Lings before making a single additional drone. It's pretty common against Gateway Expand to play like this, but sometimes you can squeeze out a drone or 2 before you go up to a whole control group worth of Zerglings. Does seem like he wants to put on some pressure onto this Gateway Expand, though. He's now splitting up all of his Lings just to make sure there's not a Ninja Zealot out on the map to come in and ruin his day when he finally does pull the trigger on being a bit more aggressive. Does find the scouting probe out in the field, actually. That's a nice small win there for Soma. If he can continuously deny the scouting of Mini, definitely a bit of a win for the Zerg. But because he's committed into so many Zerglings before squeezing out drones, and he's not actually going for any pressure onto Mini, overall I still like the position for the Protoss. Like, I feel like this is actually kind of optimal for Mini, because Mini was a little bit greedy, right? Like, he threw down that Nexus a little bit earlier than some Protoss players would. He made a bit of a delayed Zealot, delayed the second Zealot, And yeah, kind of got away with some greed. It looks like he's even delaying his forge timing ever so slightly. That's kind of normal. But everything is just so crazy in terms of optimization. You don't see a Protoss player taking these kind of liberties usually with a gateway expand. They kind of play like the cookie cutter style that everyone does, whereas Mini's this optimizer guy that's, you know, not afraid to mix it up a little bit and squeeze every drop of juice out of the orange.
He's definitely an optimizer. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, but being a bit bold here against Soma is probably a great strategy. Like, most players are worried about getting busted by Soma. He's so good at breaking you open with Hydralisk early. Mini not at all afraid. Like, he's just going for it here. He's set himself up in a great spot where Soma, like, he probably doesn't even want to go for, you know, a bit of Hydra pressure in the early game at this point. It's just not going to be worth it because the cybernetic score is here. Like, you're not going to be able to break the +1. So it looks like Soma instead probably will be forced into a normal game. Like, he's adding on extra hatches. We may see Soma go for just a 6-hatch Hydra and try to play this out long.
It does seem like that might be the case. He is the guy that basically revolutionized the cross-tech style where you throw down this Hydra Den not long after the Spire and kind of fake out the Protoss player for what tech you'll actually go for. Could be an Ogre Zerg with a lot of Mutas and Scourge. Could be a pre-Storm Hydra Bust timing. The Protoss has really no way of knowing because the Corsair has to get away to survive the Scourge until they've got enough to, you know, start one-shotting them. But in this case, he's not doing that. He's playing just a more traditional transition, and Mini, he's finding some of these overlords. He's got 2 overlords in his sight and a 3rd one between these 2. If he kills all 3 of these overlords, that's going to be so painful for Soma.
Yeah, I think he'll turn and immediately run because the Scourge are going to be coming here, right? Yeah, I don't think
I imagine he has to run.
He can't kill this before the Scourge arrive. And actually, on a collision course here, Soma sending 2 through the middle of the map. A little bit hard to catch Corsairs like this, but it looks like he's in perfect position to potentially shut that down. He's going to trap the Corsair over here on the right-hand side. It does loop around, but dangerous situation for Mini. He killed the Overlords, but it's not worth it if you start losing Corsairs at this point.
Yeah, killing 2 overlords is fantastic, but losing a Corsair completely diminishes that advantage and actually is better for the Zerg overall. Let's see, though. He hasn't actually caught the Corsair. He's been breaking the Scourge angles. Well, here comes another interception from the second pair of Scourge to try and shut this down. He does find it. Pretty big pickup now from Soma. Means he'll be even more confident. Oh my gosh, he almost caught another Corsair. He will go into Mutalisks from this and put on some pressure. The question is, does he make 5? Does he make 10? That's going to be up to Soma to decide for. But he's got that 3rd gas coming up, so could be a very big Mutalisk commitment.
Yeah, that really is his style. He's very good with the Mutalisk style, and it's been pretty trendy lately to stay on layer and, you know, get +1 armor on these on the mutas. As well as go into, you know, a bunch of Hydras and get some lurkers out as well, and just try to fight the Protoss player while you're on 4 bases. Could be hard to break Mini though on this map, right? This map in particular, the way that it's formed with that natural and that kind of wall just outside the natural. It's really tough to smash your way through into that 3rd base when you can only attack in 2 different angles. The Protoss can cover a lot of that space with Storm, and so I'm not sure if that's going to be optimal for Soma. He may want to go for a longer game, try to get into Hive this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I still slightly prefer the Battle Zerg style over Hive style on this map, even though you're right about the map geometry kind of making it hard to attack in there. I still feel like it's better to control the tempo of the game and try and stop the Protoss from taking an early 3rd gas. I think Zergs have a really good time doing that, even if the geometry is slightly worse than the maps we've had. Got a lot of Scourge with this army, and +1 Flyer Carapace to nullify the +1 weapons on the neutron flares of those Corsairs. Let's see if he can find a good engagement now. Has an Archon as well as point defense, putting some damage onto those Scourge, trying to mitigate disaster. Loses one of the Corsairs thus far, trying to keep these Mutalisks at bay from chipping away too much at the HP. Here comes a big commitment from those Scourge. Still 5 Corsairs remaining, though, for Mini. This timing attack could be a little bit annoying.
I don't know. I thought I saw something weird there. I thought I saw an Archon attack twice on one single Scourge and it not die, but he's going to try and get some damage onto those Scourge. DT is here as well. It looks like there is an Overlord down here to try and deal with that, but the DT slips by. It's very low. Looks like it'll fall. No, GT manages to live. Wow, just barely slips out. This is a awkward engagement here from Mini. Soma comes out on top. Archon's still alive somehow. I'm not really sure how that happened, but Archon does manage to survive, so keeps the most important units alive. There we go. Archon being used very well as that point defense. Keeps 6 Corsairs up. Dude, Mini is so good with these type of engagements as well. The Zealot, Corsair, Archon army on point, actually handling Soma. Although he didn't get huge damage, he actually handled that very, very well.
It's actually making a shield battery.
Oh,
that's
I love
crazy
it.
To me.
Oh, that's great. Shield battery for the Corsairs and maybe the Archon as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can top those units. You don't usually see it. Mini's a bit of a madman. He'll do just about anything. Coming after these High Templars now, does get a preemptive storm, softening up those Mutalisks and killing a few Scourge. Look at how many Zealots there are. Should be more than enough to overwhelm these Hydras on the ground. Does pick off a High Templar with those Hydras, though, so taking a little bit of the wind out of Mini's sails while he tries to secure this 4th base location. Mini taking his 3rd and could try and double expand as well if he's able to kind of defend by attacking, putting a lot of pressure onto Soma.
Oh, he's gonna push in here. He's still got 1 High Templar, 2 Storms available, trying to push in right now. There are the Mutas coming in from an angle, but he's got the Corsairs in position. Storm on the back line. 2nd Storm still available. Could try to re-engage here as everything pushes forward. Great Storm there on the advancing Hydras, and these retreating Zealots could actually take a pretty good trade against this flanking force. Tracking down the Mutas in the meantime. 7 Corsairs running those down, and the High Templar trying to escape across the map.
Yeah, some Scourge there. Not able to keep up with all of his macro and chase those Mutalisks down to their death. So will it be escaping with those skirmisher units so we can potentially snipe off more and more High Templars later? And as you can see, still just doubling down on the Battle Zerg tech style here. No Hive in sight. Desperate to try and get a 4th base online, but it's kind of playing into Mini's hands. Mini can stay on 3 bases for a while and take a 4th base whenever he so desires. And since he managed to kill the 4th base of Soma, there's no actual pressure for Mini to keep expanding for the time being. Has got a shuttle now as well coming in towards this 6 o'clock location. Soma trying to double expand now to catch up with how slowed down the expansion timings have been. Mini's shown a really well optimized game here. Now, we don't usually get to see because Mini just has a totally different style, but let's see if Soma can make it work. He's finding a few Scourge connections onto these Corsairs. Only kills 1 though. And now Mini gonna be tucked tail and running just a little bit. Doesn't want to overcommit. If he makes one small misstep and the Zerg gobbles up the majority of that infantry, Mini's completely dead. He needs to keep this army alive so he can take a 4th base.
He's gonna start to take that 4th base. Soma double expanded, by the way. He took the mineral only and the bottom center.
Yeah.
So ambitious, but at the same time he's just making so many units behind this, not going into Hive and going up to 5 bases. We almost never saw this style. Oh, Scourge actually connect on the shuttle. We almost never saw this style from Zerg in the past, but this is starting to become a little bit fashionable, man. Staying on layer this long usually does not go well against the Protoss player, but I guess as long as they don't have 4 gases, it is possible. There's the Hive finally. Very late, but it will come online eventually.
Yeah, Battle Zerg works pretty good on any map where the Protoss doesn't have easy access to a 3rd and 4th gas. Let's see if Mini can break into this 6 o'clock location. Just a single lurker here that gets dealt with. No sunken setup, and Soma caught in a transition with making a bunch of lurkers, but they have just popped out. The problem is he made them so close together, they're all kind of glitching out, stumbling over each other, so he can't actually get them up onto the high ground. Now Mini can shut Soma out from getting up here to save the hatchery. He's gonna kill this gas expansion at the 6 o'clock location, and with Mini establishing that base at the 12 o'clock, he's gonna get another gas online soon. +2 weapons upgrades are online for Soma. 1-1 still for Mini. Mini's cut a few corners here. He's got a very late upgrade timing. Not tried to rush into +2 armor or +2 weapons here, but he's got a lot of meat on the bone for Soma to try and chew through. Nice sandwich though from Soma on this army at the 6 o'clock. Cleaning it up, trying to cut the head off the snake and keeping Mini's forces in a more manageable style.
Yeah, he got the observer here, so he can clean this up pretty much for free. A lot of that's gonna die without Mini being able to trade back much, but this is a huge deal that he was able to kill 6 o'clock. And he managed to get the base at 12 o'clock online as well. Great position right now for Mini, but it's absolutely not over. Soma cleared that army up, and he can reestablish that base here in a moment. Also, like you were saying, the upgrades, man. The upgrades are starting to favor Soma a little bit. Man, it really hurts me when I see a Zerg player get bowled over like that at one of those bases. One single Hydra on the ramp buys enough time for those lurkers to get into position potentially, and unfortunately he didn't have that Hydra in place to make the lurker to buy himself that little bit of extra time that he needed. So now he's really paying the price.
Yeah, and now that Mini's got these 4 bases, he's even taking a 5th base in the top left, and he's intercepting some of these Zerglings in transit to come up here and try and get a cancellation on that. There's a DT to try and mop them up before they're successful. Here comes that lurker egg block at the 9 o'clock position, slowing down this army while Soma gets more units in position to deal with it. This is actually shaping up to be an interesting game. Like, I feel like this game is actually going to go kind of late here. I don't think either player is going to kill one another, but Mini might outgrow Soma, and I think he just recently would be finishing up his additional upgrade as well. Kind of equalizing with Soma, but when the upgrades are equal, it actually does slightly favor the Zerg. So it's actually kind of hard to call this game. I feel like this could go either way.
Wow, still 1-1. He is researching, but
should be finished soon.
He does not have to do. Armor's done, so Zealots are gonna 3-hit Lings. That's a little bit rough because we're gonna have Crackling coming up now, and there's gonna be Defilers on the way as well. So Lings are gonna start to trade real well, and we're already seeing it here, coming in and just trying to pick off something. There's the +2 armor. Finally, he gets that. He still needs +2 attack though to start trading a little bit better with these Lings. Soma, it's very hard for Mini to push into some of these positions. The lurker's way out here in the front, probably not the greatest idea. Definitely don't want to be losing some of these before the full engagement comes. He does manage to pull a lot of that stuff back, and he's trying to take bottom right. I think if Mini focuses on just dealing with this bottom right, preventing the other main base from going up, and he keeps that base in the top left alive, he should be in a winning position here, but he's pushing in towards the natural and taking trades against these lurkers. Is this a mistake? So many Lings here are available, and this is a mostly Dragoon army. He's doing one of the last trades he can before Defilers come online and these Dragoons start to become a little bit useless.
Meanwhile, Mini does force a cancellation on that base in the bottom right. A pretty huge move, especially now that he's got his own 5th base established on top left. I love how active Mini has been thus far with those Corsairs supply blocking Soma, but they're now dealt with at the 19-minute mark. He's finally cleared up those Corsairs, so he stops getting harassed and bleeding his max army supply potential. And the supplies look pretty reasonable for Soma here, like just sitting on 150 to 180. He's got 2-2 now on his ground army. This is looking scarier and scarier for Mini to deal with, mainly because of how late the upgrades have been, as we pointed out. Looks like Mini going to try and go for another bit of a skirmish into the rally point of the Zerg. He hasn't got a lot of storm with this, so really he should be thinking about pulling back. It depends on how many reinforcements there are from Soma. If he has anything to flank with, this attack would be easily dealt with. So far, though, it looks like most of the army is actually towards the south of this attacking force, so Mini isn't being cut off from retreating, but it doesn't matter. He's still getting overrun. I was expecting him to pull back sooner than this, and now he's paying a bit of a price. He has to quickly get some more additional units up here. He can't afford to lose any tempo and steam, or Soma will eventually have a field day with him if he can start expanding down here in the bottom right quadrant.
Time to let go of the Dragoon army, potentially. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose these Dragoons right now, but honestly, it's time to start making a lot of Reavers. Like, we need additional Robos. Robo at top left, probably Robo at top center, maybe even an extra Robo in the natural. Start making Reavers, start cranking them out. There's the first Defiler. Dark Swarm is coming. And you need to be ready with tons of Archons and tons of Reavers. Is he gonna get this? Oh my god, it's so close. This Defiler is so close to death. He's not targeting it down, but it's not getting the Dark Swarm either.
There is a lot of reinforcements from Soma coming down here to defend. There's no observer in position to kill those lurkers. He has got a couple of observers with this army here to the north, but wasn't a good enough situation to overwhelm Soma. And look at the macro as well. You have to be a little bit fearful that you don't just get gobbled up. If you commit too deeply into an attack like this, suddenly you're surrounded by the reinforcements and you do lose a lot of steam. But he has got a predominantly Zealot-focused army right now, knowing that that Dark Swarm will nullify those Dragoons. As soon as Plague is ready and he starts churning out Plagues, I think it might start to be over for Mini. Maybe he knows that as well and is going to try and go aggressive yet again. But with just a few Lurkers peppered in to this army composition of Soma, this Zealot-heavy army is not going to fare that well. Let's see if he can quickly overwhelm the Lurkers or not.
He's really going for it here. The Plague is down, but honestly, the Zealots still have a lot of health before the Plague fully takes effect. Storm on the top side is insanely good, dude. He killed so many and softened up so much of that army right there. Dragoons are being forced away. Another great Plague on top of this army. He does force the engagement here, but it's starting to go a little bit into Soma's favor. A lot of money in the bank right now for Mini. 3,500 minerals. This is a situation that I'm not personally very comfortable with. Like, if the Protoss player gets the other main base before I do, and I'm busy like trying to catch up and get bases online for myself while there's constantly pressuring me, I'm feeling pretty bad at this point. But Soma, he's doing such a good job trading. He's doing such a good job macroing. He's actually in looking to be in a better and better position. He might be able to slowly form up on the center right, take that base over, and he actually might get over here in time to stop these cannons from finishing as well. Oh my god, it's so close, but I think he's getting there just in the nick of time. Oh no, DT.
Oh, there is a
in
DT
there
as well as High Templars, yeah. So it looks like he is okay. I think a lot of this game comes down to the upgrade timing's been really helping out Soma trade effectively against Mini. And Mini, you know, he's not the best macro player. He does tend to slip in his macro, despite being very good on the control side of things and the optimization side of things. So this is usually the point of the game. The mid to late game is where he tends to struggle the most with fully utilizing his economy and getting all of his infrastructure constantly producing on and firing on all cylinders. There is maybe still a hope for Mini to try and barrel it down on Soma, but it looks like that window is very quickly closing on him. Might have to start relying a lot more on Reavers as the game develops now. The Dark Swarm and the Plagues will just become too much of a factor, and Soma's gonna trade a lot with a little. Just come in here, skirmish with the High Templars, with the Hydras, and then start to throw down some Plagues, and then retreat, kind of taking the role of the Protoss and skirmishing with him, and then pulling back over and over again without fully committing too many units. And can also go for counterattacks on some of these expansions of Mini as well if he wants to get a Dark Swarm over at one of these expansions with some Lurker and try and, you know, cripple the economy of Mini back at home.
DT here is so sick, actually. That DT getting so much value, killing off a ton of defilers, and he's going to get up here on the high ground as well. Might kill off these hatcheries, which won't be the biggest deal in the world, but that is quite a bit of macro. That's going to be lost, quite a bit of larva. This is not going to be present anymore. Ling's coming up. Storm on the ramps is just dealing so much damage, and the Archons are doing a fantastic job at trading at the same time. There's a nice plague hitting all of these cannons, really making them easy to chew up. And I don't see Reavers, man. There it is, the robo finally made at that natural, but I think it's a little too late. There's an opportunity here for Soma to break top left.
I think so. He's had the robotic support bay in the main base for quite a long time, but he hasn't been producing Reavers yet. And that's definitely keeping him open to more and more aggression out of Soma. But, you know, he hasn't come up in here and actually killed the base just yet. And if Mini kind of defends by attacking, by keeping army out on the map, maybe there's a way of him. Oh, here comes a triple shuttle down in the bottom right. Big Zealot hit squad in conjunction with a High Templar as well. This is not a bad move from Mini. Soma is technically winning the game right now, but a few more attacks like this, kills the hatchery would be great. And also going to be hitting the mineral only on the low ground with his main battle force here, but a beautiful play comes out onto those Zealots.
Honestly, I disagree. I think that Mini is ahead. I don't know, man. This is a tough spot for Soma. He can't really deal easily with constant High Templar drops in the bottom right, and he can't really kill top left either. As long as there's Reavers going to be popping out here soon, he should be able to hold that base. Another drop bottom left. There's a great storm. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, there's always going to be an opportunity to run by the Scourge here. You have to put so many Hydras in that base to 100% defend against High Templar drops. And in the meantime, trying to break top left is going to be nearly impossible. There's the Reavers out now. It's locked down. I think we're going to go into almost a mine out scenario where everybody's fighting for the center right and the mineral only top left.
Well, maybe so. Let's see if Mini can get down here in the bottom right and start killing some of these base off. There's going to be a bit of a base tradey scenario as Soma looks to hit the 12 o'clock base with the majority of his forces, while a few lurkers hold the line against the main army of Mini. Looks like he will overwhelm this position, but it's close to being mined out anyway. It's not the end of the world for Mini to concede this base. Definitely could be a scenario. There's another drop in the bottom right, I think, as well from Mini. A bit of a special forces style that actually could end up paying off for him, but I do feel like theoretically on paper Soma should be able to win this game, but maybe Mini can run circles around him. If he actually kills this hatchery in the bottom right and continues to drop and harass, definitely feel like the Protoss could win.
There's so many drones running around here not mining, and there's an opportunity. Like, I think he's got High Templar in this. I think he has High Templar here that could be dropped as soon as the drones group up to kill a lot of this economy. The top center was a nice kill, but I mean, it's just not comparable to what's being done to him in bottom right now. And in the meanwhile, the income from top left is insane. 3,500 resources have been built up for Mini. Once again, he's nearly maxed, but he's remaxing on Reavers, man. He's just got such strong defense in these bases.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like Soma's trading better overall, though. I think the longer this game goes on, the better it could get for Soma. Like, the fact that Mini has to, like, replace the Nexus at the 12 o'clock to finish mining it out. Mini still has to secure this 3 o'clock base, and it's going to be hard to secure the mineral only in the top left. Like, there's more bases available for Soma to more easily grab away from him. And so, yeah, I still feel like this is a Zerg advantage game. The longer it goes on, maybe there's a bigger hope for Mini as he gets Reavers out and stuff, but I feel like Soma's still got this.
Let's see. Another attack coming in towards this natural. I feel like this is a pretty big waste of army for Soma. He's taking some huge hits from these Reavers, and a lot of Hydras are being thrown away to not really gain much ground. Like, you're not gonna, I don't think, break the natural here.
Battery kills the Reaver.
Dude, this is so many good hits, but there finally a plague goes down. He really needed a plague on those Reavers if he wants to break that position. And here comes the High Templar storm into the mineral line. Very quick reaction from Soma, but he still loses a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty good storm drop there from Mini. Yeah, maybe Mini could just barely claw this away. He did just Soma did just bleed off a massive chunk of his army. 3-2-2 upgrades now on this Protoss as we approach the super late game stage. Single Zealot being annoying in the bottom right. Let's see if he can break through this lurker line and pick off this hatchery yet again. Oh, actually the shuttle goes down this time. Can he kill both of the observers off as well? Yes, he catches both of the observers. Pretty big moment here.
Drone line, what is it doing? Oh my god, drones. Holy cow,
That's
6
painful.
kills. 6 kills on that Archon. Drone number not that high right now, I feel, for Soma. You can definitely remake a lot of drones, but clearing out this army is still annoying. It can trade so well if you get a nice storm and the Reavers connect well. Well, spreading out like this is probably not going to trade too efficiently. In fact, the lanes are just going to kill this immediately. So great trade there from Soma, clearing that off the map. I think there's an opportunity now for Soma to try and take center right and really go for the mine out condition.
Yeah, he just needs to starve out Mini from the game. Like, yes, it's been annoying that he's been losing some drones, losing some hatcheries. The reality is that, you know, Mini has to take more bases, and it's much easier for Soma to secure the 3 o'clock than it is for Mini in this current game state. So the onus is definitely going to be on Mini. He's eventually going to be mined out on those top 2 bases in the top left quadrant. And yeah, I feel like Soma could potentially run away with the game, but the problem is that Mini has also started to trade better and better as the game has progressed, especially utilizing those Reavers. Can he still keep up with the pain train, though? If Soma gets just 1 or 2 good engagements, like this plague here could be huge. Oh, that's a pretty monstrous plague, saying if he loses just 1 of these big engagements, he's going to be in trouble. It's nice canceling this hatchery, but not if you lose your entire army for it.
We gotta juggle these Reavers, get as much value as you possibly can. These are some good shots. But there's the plague finally landing on these Reavers, making them so much softer to try and pick off. He's got to juggle really, really well here, but the Reavers start to fall. There's the last Reaver going down. He trades the hatchery away and kills off a lot of army, but falls 30, almost 40 supply behind Soma. He's at a critical level now where it's going to be very hard for him to keep up and remax against what Soma had. Like 150 supply, dude. I think he's actually taking his hands off the keyboard. He's not growing in supply at all. He's at 100 supply and he's not spending money.
I would bet my life savings that Mini's head is to the side, his mouth is open, and he's swearing in Korean. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think he spent a little bit more money, but totally, he is definitely tilted at this point, and there's not looking to be a good way to clear this one out. I wonder if, instead of attacking into that mineral only again and again, if he had come up to the high ground at center right and just tried to take that base and tempted Soma to come and, you know, stop him from doing it, maybe he could have traded better and had a better showing there. But pushing into that mineral only again and again, like, it allowed too much of a good surface area, I feel like. Or Soma gets another observer. Just so annoying when you're this low on gas. This late game situation is it's very clear that Soma knows exactly how to turn the screw on a late game Protoss player.
Yeah, we got another drop attempt here from Mini, but Hydra's in position to put a lot of DPS onto that. Gonna see if it can get into the bottom right, but no, there's Scourge and Hydra's waiting for that shuttle. Does manage to take it out. Has got quite a bunch of High Templars with his main battle force here. Could potentially get up onto this high ground at the 3 o'clock and try and go for a last stand situation. Let's see if he can somehow break through these lurkers. Soma's gonna shove a bunch of units down to this channel and trade off the majority of his forces, and some pretty good subterranean spines on those High Templars, taking a few of them out as well. Even though Mini's technically close to overrunning this base, there's not enough meat on the bone that Soma can't handle. So yeah, eventually Soma's gonna clean this up and secure the victory.
Oh my god, you just trade so much better from this high ground, man. Going up on this high ground, I think, would have been the better call. Like, he's done such a good job of killing observers, by the way. I haven't mentioned it enough, but there have been so many times where observers were like the only thing that he needed. He gets the shuttle too. There goes the observer again. It's so frustrating for the Protoss player to deal with. But Soma just keeps denying those over and over, and there's really nowhere for Mini to push. I think he's gonna have to be completely tilted at this point. 80 supply disadvantage. We're gonna be seeing the tap out very soon.
Yeah, there was a 59% audience score given to the Protoss squad, but I think I even said to you before we started the cast that I kind of feel like with Soma there, Zerg might actually be able to clutch out this week, and looks like it's definitely going to be the case. Pretty much a maxed out Zerg going after a Protoss operating on fumes. The main in the top left now mined out. Natural will be soon to follow. Mini kind of just going through the motions here in frustration, not wanting to give up too easily, and yeah, just probably trying to calm himself down and process the loss as he starts to get engulfed. Look at how many lurkers are surrounding this army. It's just becoming more and more pitiful as the seconds tick by. There's absolutely no hope for Mini in this game anymore.
He's gonna be tapping out here in a second. Oh my goodness. So many lurkers there at the front. Pure zealot army just can't make any headway. He gets pushed back. And there it is. GG is called. An incredibly long game here to end things off. 36-minute mark has just passed on the timer, and we are done with a week 8. Okay, guys, we've come to the end. I said week 8, but this is week 5. That was game number 8. Epic conclusion there as we take a look at the point scores here. A little bit of an advantage for Zerg pulling ahead, but hey, there's still a lot to play for here. Still 3 weeks left of the regular season, and anything can happen, Sean.
Yeah, still enough weeks left for maybe both Protoss or Terran to squeeze out a final spot. Gonna be a little bit of a challenge though. 3-point difference kind of relies on Zerg flatlining to do that, but it's possible, right? Like Zerg gets 0 points in week 6 and 7, and say Protoss wins it twice in a row, they're suddenly on 8 points. Could definitely be a Zerg in the semifinals still. Everything's still to play for, but Zerg, man, they came out strong this week, and the percentages really didn't favor them. I think they got like 29% or something, but I was actually saying to you that I felt like this would be a good week for Zerg.
It was weird that last week they had such a high percentage and they didn't even have some in the lineup. And then they ended up losing. So I don't know about how much I trust those percentages. But hey, it is what it is. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today. Let us know what your favorite game was. Make sure to like the video as well and support us on Patreon if you can. Links are in the description as always. Thank you. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.